Fox 5 News at noon. Stay connected to us around the clock on fox5atlanta.com. Stick around because here comes Portia.
For Fox 5 News Live, remember this is an interactive news conversation. We are live streaming on all of our social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And you can join us in the comments. So if you have something you want to talk about, if you have a question on something we are talking about, let us know and we'll try to get it answered for you. Let's get straight to the stories that we're following this morning. And the big thing is certainly the first day of school. Take a look, a live picture coming from one of our sky cams here in the city of Atlanta. This is from the Georgia Credit Union, Georgia's own credit union. They have put up "Welcome back" to students, welcoming everyone back to the new school year, since the vast majority of our districts, about a third of them, if not more, return to class today. So let's talk about it. Students across several North Georgia districts, as you can see right there, are back in the classroom today. And in Metro Atlanta, the back-to-school list is long, including the cities of Atlanta and Decatur, as well as Fulton, DeKalb, Cobb, Henry, Clayton, and Cherokee County. So let's talk about the city of Atlanta, APS specifically. They welcome back students today, with district leaders touting a fully staffed teaching workforce and a continued emphasis on academic fundamentals. Students walked past a red carpet Monday morning as Atlanta Public Schools kicked off the new school year. District leaders said they will continue building on the Back to Basics 2030 strategic plan, with literacy remaining a top priority. This year, APS is launching an accelerated literacy model at 4 elementary schools designed to help students build reading skills more quickly. And let's take you to DeKalb County now. Students return to school there with stricter enforcement of the district's Disconnect to Reconnect initiative. The district said personal electronic devices, including cell phones, smartwatches, earbuds, recording glasses, and similar devices are not permitted during school hours except in situations allowed by law. Some exceptions apply for students with medical and other special plans. Officials said the policy aligns with Georgia's new Distraction-Free Education Act, while exceeding the state's minimum requirements by prohibiting students from accessing personal devices during the school day. The goal is to reduce distractions and help students stay focused and engaged in learning. The president of the Georgia Association of Educators said limiting classroom devices allows teachers to spend less time policing students and more time teaching, which obviously seems vitally important, especially now as they return to class. As we come back into the newsroom, let's check in with our assignment manager, Tanya Mendoza, to see the stories that we are working on today. We have a team of reporters scattered throughout our area right now, and let's start with the back-to-school topic, specifically kids and online threats.
That's right. Deidre Dukes is working on a story regarding online safety for kids as they go back to school. She's actually interviewing a podcaster by the name of Tatiana Jordan, who discusses online safety and digital trends for families. She is also an executive with Bark. Bark is a parental control safety app, which was created by a former Twitter employee. So that's interesting. We're going to hear much more on that with Deidre Dukes today, as I think around 17 counties in our viewing area go back to school. Tyler?
Yeah, certainly you want to make sure kids stay safe when with online and all of that related to that. Let's switch and talk about this arrest that happened in the DeKalb street takeover.
Yeah, that's right. So Annie Mapp followed up on a tip that we got in the newsroom about an ongoing problem over in a neighborhood in DeKalb County. They say street takeovers keep taking place at the intersection of Chamblee Tucker Road and Barkside Court. We reached out to DeKalb County Police Department, and they confirmed a street takeover at the intersection this weekend. And in their release that they sent over, they said basically they arrested someone by the name of, okay, there's his picture. Where's his name, Tyler? Help me out here. Jacob Monterde, and he was arrested in connection to whatever took place there. And Annie is going to have much more with the neighbors in that area that are dealing with this at least twice a month, I believe is what they told Annie. Tyler?
And let's take people to Lawrenceville. There was that hot car death that happened last week. I understand we're now speaking to an attorney.
Yeah, that's right. So last week we reported on this. There was a child left in a car allegedly by his mother, according to the Lawrenceville Police Department, who held a press conference. So the child died. It was outside a Lawrenceville hospital while she went in for work. She allegedly had dropped off her other kids at daycare, then went to work and forgot. And she was arrested and charged in that case. She is still in jail. She has not bonded out. Angelique Proctor is talking to her attorney, and basically I just got off the phone with Angelique before we started the live stream, and Angelique says that the attorney says the mother was sleep deprived and that she is a loving mother. She made a mistake that should not be criminalized, is what he's saying. Also, he said she is a single mother that was juggling 3 kids. So that's what he said in the interview. We will have much more on that later. Tyler?
Yeah, that's an incredibly sad story. The other day, we actually played that live news conference from Lawrenceville Police right here on Fox 5 News Live. Obviously tragic, something like that happened. Now she's facing charges, so we will look for Angelique's story a little bit later on to hear from the attorney ourselves, to hear what they have to say. But now let's talk about the issues that have happened up in McKaysville, the flooding. The cleanup still continues up there. What can you tell us?
That's right. Ray Yedena's over in the McKaysville area right now. They were slammed with some bad weather over the weekend. Heavy McKaysville flooding shut down the downtown business district Sunday after city leaders said nearby highway construction clogged the storm drains with gravel and mud. City officials confirmed storm drains filled with silt during State Road 5 work, leaving local shop owners cleaning up the mulch left behind. Okay, so the mulch left behind there. But officials urge residents to conserve water after floodwaters knocked out power at the municipal water plant for several hours. Okay, so this is all important because right now in McKaysville, the Tennessee Valley Authority has brought in water for the town to use as they get their water system back up. Ray is interviewing the police chief and business owners and people in the area about what happened and the cleanup. I do want to mention that GDOT sent over a statement, if you can pull up that statement about all of this. Okay, so basically they're saying that on Saturday night, an overwhelming storm system moved through Fannin County, dropping more than 7 inches of rain in 8 hours, resulting in flash flood conditions. It's the type of storm that has less than a 1% chance of impacting this area on any given year. No project or drainage system is built to handle a storm cell of this magnitude or the resulting flash flooding that occurred. The storm overwhelmed drainage systems and swept through roadways and construction sites. GDOT and contracted crews worked to efficiently recover these systems, and State Route 5 specifically was reopened after 20 hours of cleanup. They said, we want to thank everyone who assisted in the cleanup and assure this community that we will look into mitigation strategies in the future. Tyler, that's the update from GDOT in that area as McKaysville continues to clean up. And I think Alex up there with you right now, so he can tell you much more about what happened.
Yeah, exactly. And Alex is here now. You understand you have some of the look at just the rainfall we've seen in that area. Tanya, thanks so much. And we'll bring in Alex Forbes now to talk about that, just how much we saw over the last 36, 48 hours, yep. 72 hours up there.
So Fox 5 Live Viper had the same estimate that GDOT mentioned of about 7 inches of rain. And the key here is that it happened just south of McKaysville, okay. And the water drains to the north because of the river, right? Mm-hmm. You have the Toccoa River that goes right there through the city. It crosses the state line and becomes the OC River, but for all intents and purposes, right, it drains to the body of water and it makes its way over towards the Tennessee River. So let's get over to Fox 5 Live Viper here. 2 things to point out. First, you've got one, this area between Blairsville and Dahlonega saw a ton of rain, but as did the McKaysville area. So let's zoom in here. This is going to be north of Blue Ridge. Here is State Route 5. That is this road right here that GDOT is working on. Notice that is where you get the bullseye of some of the heaviest rainfall. So if we query that, there you go to 6.3 inches within the last 2 days. And like I said, that water just drained right there into McKaysville. Here is the Toccoa River right here, and then becomes the OC River before getting into Tennessee and making its way up towards the Tennessee River. So that's why you saw the flash flooding. It was really from about 9:30 p.m. to about 2:30 a.m. I was here at work and I saw the pictures starting to come in, and I was like, holy cow. You know, I think the biggest takeaway from this is that GDOT is right. You know, 6 to 7 inches of rain is 6 to 7 inches of rain, road construction aside. I'm sure the construction didn't help things, but it's something to consider when looking at the impacts. Now, this is also crazy to me. So, have you driven up to Blairsville before from here, from Atlanta?
Once.
So, you know, Blairsville and Dahlonega are not that far apart, and it's where you cross the ridge line, right? You go up through the mountains in between Dahlonega and Blairsville. There's Vogel State Park. You saw some of the highest rainfall totals right there on the county line. There's your 7 inches, but look at this. Dahlonega, ½ inch of rain. Blairsville, 1.13. So that goes to show you how tight that gradient was right there in Union County. And I mention this every single time. Anytime we see rainfall rates and rainfall totals like this in the mountains, that is concern for flash flooding purely because of physics. Water goes down. Gravity is at play. There's no rain and then it just sits there and soaks into the ground. The rain falls and it is moving. When it has to go somewhere. Yeah, exactly. And the somewhere is always down in elevation. So that's what we saw. That was really Saturday night into Sunday. Now, we do have some showers out there right now. Some cloud cover here over Atlanta. Temperature of 83. Looking at dew point is 69 right now across Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. There's where the shower activity is, mainly on the western side of the metro and up on the north side in the mountains. Looking at that cloud cover continuing to spill in as well. So for the remainder of the day, I'm going to call it predominantly partly cloudy, but still couple of sprinkles, we'll say, across Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. Here's how it looks on the hour by hour. Looking for more sprinkles today and then showers and storms by the time we get to tomorrow. So there's 7 a.m. and then once you get to noon, we flip the machine on and into the afternoon, looking for about a 60% chance of rain in the metro area. So for your back to school forecast here, temperatures upper 80s the next couple of days. Daily chances of rain will be around, and then as we find our way towards the back half of the week and the weekend, temperatures closer to 90, which is still our average high for a couple more days. Next week, you ready for this? Our average high drops to 89. And then 88, then 87, right? So you're beginning that trend in the cooler direction as we work our way towards the middle part of August.
We've almost made it past the worst part of summer, according to, I guess, the averages.
So if you get into the decimals, like the 90.2 whatever, yes, we've technically passed that date now.
Okay. That sounds good. Alex, thanks so much. We still have a lot more ahead here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We're back in just 2 minutes. And welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. The time is now 1:15. We're so glad you're here. Let's get straight to some of our health stories we're following right now at 1 o'clock. Let's talk about this. A new study suggests some people with inactive lifestyles are actually consuming more protein than they actually need. A new review published in the scientific journal Cell Press Blue says that people who take in too much protein and lead sedentary lifestyles may be raising the risk of obesity, inflammatory, and other age-related diseases. The review looked at 350 scientific studies. It says Americans who don't need the extra protein intake and should actually reduce it if they have inactive lifestyles. The review says amino acids within high-protein diets appear to activate a growth pathway that raises those negative risks for age-related diseases. The review also says reducing protein intake may help slow down the aging process and extend lifespans. The study suggests a hormone that boosts energy, controls blood sugar, and reduces inflammation rises when protein intake is reduced. Current U.S. dietary guidelines recommend a daily protein intake of 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. Another story we're following, the Pentagon announced it will mandate screening testosterone levels in military personnel to check for low levels that, if treated, could improve readiness and performance. But does that medical evidence back routine testosterone screening? So we took that to Emory Dr. Neil Wenower, who joined Good Day Atlanta this morning to discuss it. Let's take a look.
It's good to see you, especially with this topic, because it got a lot of people talking. Let's just go ahead and refresh some of their memories about what this is.
Yeah, they want to do annual screening in service personnel, active service personnel, and reservists who are 30 or over. If you're under 30, you can opt in for it. If you are found to have a low testosterone level, you're not mandated to have treatment. You can discuss it with the physician, but it's mandatory screening, though.
Okay, but then what does that low testosterone look like? What are the symptoms, if you will?
Yeah, fatigue is the big one, lack of energy, but then it can affect your libido as well and cause erectile dysfunction. It can cause decreased muscle mass and decreased strength, and it could affect your mood and possibly lead to depression. But here's the thing. Normally, we screen for those symptoms in people before we draw testosterone levels. When you draw a testosterone level and it's low in somebody who's otherwise healthy, who doesn't have any complaints, first of all, you have to verify it because testosterone can fluctuate during the day. We check it in the morning,
sure,
and you usually have to check it twice. The military didn't say whether they were going to do this confirmatory testing, but the real issue is what do you do with the level that you find that is low in someone who does not have any of those symptoms that I just discussed, because then the risk benefit of taking testosterone therapy changes.
You bring up a really good point there, especially for those of us who aren't familiar with what this would look like or mean. So you're quite literally saying there is a risk that comes with this.
100%. The biggest one is fertility. You're talking young service members, because what happens is when you give testosterone, it shuts the production of your body's own sperm because it thinks it has enough, so it doesn't stimulate the testicles to make more sperm. And then there are other symptoms too. It can thicken the blood, and that could potentially lead to blood clots. It can cause acne. It can cause prostate problems or urinary problems. It may affect mood. That's what we might get into as well, but it has all these complications potentially. If you're deficient, it should be normal physiologic. You shouldn't have that. But in someone who is taking too much and you have to adjust the dose and your levels go high, these are some of the symptoms that you may be at risk for.
Well, let's talk more about the mood, the aggression that this could cause some people to experience.
Yeah, this is very nuanced. There's no evidence that suggests that anyone who has a low level who takes it and now has a physiologically normal level is going to become more aggressive. The studies that show more aggressiveness are in people who are prone to being aggressive, and it makes that situation worse. But it wouldn't take somebody who has not been aggressive and then all of a sudden make them. It might make somebody a little bit more irritable.
Okay.
But in terms of aggressiveness and making somebody also a super soldier or something like that, there's no evidence to suggest that in somebody with normal functioning levels.
Well, this had a lot of people talking because we're not just talking about testing men's testosterone levels, but also women's.
Yeah, this is even a more slippery slope. We we don't have a defined level of testosterone deficiency in women. Women do make testosterone, and it's an important hormone, but in much less levels than men. So it's an area that we don't really know what to do with, quite honestly, too. So when you start testing women as well, even less experience in terms of what that would look like and what that would mean. So stay tuned. We really need more data for that.
Yeah, it's just a wait and see situation on that front. But is there anything else that you wanted to add about what the Pentagon might be able to do to optimize performance here?
Yeah, well, there are other things, conditions in service members: sleep apnea, poor sleep, poor nutrition, obesity, overtraining, alcoholism, all those things, depression, all those things lead to low testosterone levels. So that's just a marker of those conditions. So if you just look for the testosterone, you're not treating the underlying condition. There are many other conditions that if they focused on, people would improve those symptoms that they might have, and then their testosterone levels would naturally rise. So I would say you don't want to look for something. My biggest concern here is looking for low levels in people who don't have symptoms, because once again, you screen for it. You say, how are you doing? Do you have any fatigue? Do you have enough energy? Do you feel any symptoms? And if the person does and you check their level, I know that replacement is going to improve their condition.
Right.
When they don't have any symptoms, then what are we doing? Are we going to be causing more complications? Why would you treat somebody? And people will get overtreated. Make no mistake, if you go looking for levels and you find low levels in people without symptoms, some people are going to get treatment that they don't need, and that's my big concern. And there's no evidence to show that that's helpful in the military or otherwise. And no endocrine society recommends treating low hormone levels in people who don't have symptoms.
Yeah, that's some really good insight there. And it just puts things into perspective, because we've been hearing this story float around on social media, but you made it make sense.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, we appreciate it always. Thank you,
my
Dr.
pleasure.
Winward.
And remember, you can find more Good Day Atlanta segments on our website, fox5atlanta.com. Just navigate to the Good Day section. Let's talk about social media now. Several big social media sites and apps are being sued by several people related to the damaging to minors' mental health. And so a lawsuit was filed in the Superior Court of Delaware by Social Media Victims Law Center on behalf of 4 families whose children died by suicide. The complaint claims the teenagers experienced depression and anxiety after using the platforms for years. According to the lawsuit, the companies allegedly knew they were causing harm to young users. The Social Media Victims Law Center's founding attorney says the platforms are, quote, a clear and present danger to the health and safety of children. A spokesperson for Google, which owns YouTube, says it has, quote, built services and policies to provide young people with age-appropriate experiences. The lawsuit comes weeks before Meta will face trial over accusations the company is designed addictive features and collecting data on users under 13 without parental consent. There's a new federal borrowing caps that we've talked about on student loans, and they're going into effect, and states are trying to pick up the slack by expanding their student loan offerings. Financial experts are warning students to be careful borrowing money from the states. Borrowing money from states comes with trade-offs. Consumer advocates caution that while state loans may be a good choice for borrowers, they may not be advantageous as federal loans. That's because the interest rates on state student loans can exceed 10%, and the debt does not come with federal protections. The money experts say state student loans are more like private student loans, and that means students should be extra cautious when looking into signing up for them. And with school back in session across Metro Atlanta, school zone speed cameras have been reactivated. Let's check in with our Eli Jordan, who is standing by live in Henry County. And Eli, what can you tell us about what's going on down there and what people can expect?
Hey, good afternoon, Tyler. Yeah, I mean, we got the school buses, we got kids getting up early, we got the school cross guards, and we got the school zones. Now I'm out here in front of Unity Grove Elementary School on LeGuin Mill Road here in Henry County, and they start early. They're about to be let off in about an hour, but there's a lot of things we got to remember. But the school zone starts way back there and ends right over here, and they got some flashing lights and things like that. But the cameras, they start an hour beforehand, before school starts, and they're on all day and they turn off an hour after school starts, and that's your guy right there. You want to watch out for those cameras, because if you come through here going, the speed limit is 25 when the light is flashing, but if you're going 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, more than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, that guy right there is going to catch you. But there's a lot of things we got to remember and watch out for as school starts, more than just, of course we got the school cameras there, speed cameras, but also too, there's a lot of things we need to remember. And I spoke with Kyle Sears, Executive Director of Communications at Henry County Schools, and here's what he has to say about the start.
A few things for drivers to look out around our schools. Of course, the speed zone cameras in the school zones, as well as the crossing guards that will be working in the street during arrival and dismissal times, as well as the stop arms on the school buses. Be aware of when school buses are stopping and when those arms are out, when students are loading and unloading.
And that's oncoming and passing traffic stop both ways, correct?
Correct, yep.
The school cameras come on an hour before school starts, and they last until an hour after school starts. But we got to remember that several different schools, depending on what grade level, open at different times, correct?
Yes, our schools open at different times across the county. So elementary starts at 7:35 and dismisses at 2:35. Our high schools start at 8:15 and dismiss at 3:15, and our middle schools start at 9 a.m. and dismiss at 4 p.m.
So drivers need to be aware, like, hey, if you're coming through an elementary school, slow down by 6:30.
That's correct. That's
awesome. And I guess, we got crossing guards, we have students loading on buses, we have buses coming in and out. Should people allow for time if they're passing by a school?
Yeah, especially these first couple of weeks of school, patience is really the operative word. Everybody's getting back into their routine, whether it's our drivers and our students back in the routine of finding their school bus stop and getting on the bus, or our schools who are handling arrival and dismissal procedures, or our parents who are doing drop off and pick up in the afternoons. We'll see a lot of congestion these first couple of weeks as people do get back into those routines, and then pretty soon it'll be smooth sailing.
Pretty soon it'll be smooth sailing, but until then, just be mindful. Shortly here, in less than an hour, right at an hour, this place will be packed with cars. Parents, excited to ask their kids, what was the first day like? And also, too, people passing through, maybe forgetting that, oh yeah, school's back in. So be mindful as you approach a school, slow down, and be patient. There's going to be crossing guards out there. There's going to be buses that are going to be traveling through your neighborhoods and all on the roads that are going to be stopping frequently. So come to a complete stop, whether you're following them or if you're oncoming traffic, you need to stop, because that is a hefty, hefty fine. But just be patient. We'll get through this and we'll get back into the habit. But also, too, just remember that here in front of LeGuin Unity Elementary School on LeGuin Mill Road, well, that camera turns on at 6:30 in the morning and will be running until, let's see, 3:15, because school gets out here at 2:15, so it runs an hour on either side of school entrance. So school here starts at 7:30, 6:30 the camera comes on, and then school gets out at 2:15. Well, the camera cuts off. It's on all day. It cuts off at 3:15. So if you're going too fast through here anytime during the day, it doesn't have to be during, when school's going in or school's letting out. Just because the little, warning caution light is not flashing, the camera is still on all day until school's out, until an hour after school is out. And so just be careful. You don't want to get a ticket in the mail, and just watch out for the school cameras, and also be safe. We don't want to hit any kids. We want to be safe, have a good school year, and we'll get back to normal here in a little bit. Tyler?
All good advice. Eli, thanks so much for the update. We'll check in with you throughout the afternoon. Thanks again. And we still have a lot more ahead here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We're back in 2 minutes. And welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. The time now 1:32. I'm Tyler Fingert. Remember, this is an interactive news conversation, so we are live streaming on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So if you have any questions about what we're talking about or have any comments, join us in the conversation and just write a comment, and we will try to get to you right here during Fox 5 News Live. Let's get straight to some of the headlines we're following right now at 1 o'clock. And certainly this is one that happened in Gwinnett County, where they're investigating a deadly shooting that happened early Sunday in a parking lot along Stone Mountain Highway in Snellville. Gwinnett County officers were patrolling the area just after midnight when they heard gunfire coming from the 3500 block of Stone Mountain Highway. When officers arrived, they spotted a man running from the parking lot and took him into custody without any trouble. Officers then searched the area and found a man who died from a gunshot wound. Detectives gathered evidence at the scene and interviewed several witnesses in the parking lot. Officials are withholding the victim's name until his family is notified. Police have not released the identity of the man who died or the person taken into custody, and investigators have not stated what led up to the gunfire or if any charges have been filed. As always, if you know anything, you're asked to contact the Gwinnett County Police Department. Also in Gwinnett County, a mother there is pleading for help from the community to identify potential suspects after her 21-year-old son was assaulted and robbed outside of a gas station near Duluth. Vanessa Humphrey is the mom's name, said her 21-year-old son, Dominique Kelly, was out with friends at the Ibiza Lounge on Satellite Boulevard early Friday morning. After leaving the lounge, she said her son walked to a nearby gas station alongside a woman while his other friends dissipated. While hanging out near the gas station, Humphrey and the woman went inside and left her son with her belongings. Moments later, Humphrey said a man approached her son with threatening comments and initiated a physical fight. She said a second person then stepped out of the same vehicle and struck Kelly in the head, causing him to collapse. Humphrey said the attack left Kelly with a small brain bleed and result in a surgical removal of his left eye. Humphrey hopes by sharing her son's story, it could help detectives track down potential suspects. Authorities have not yet identified any potential suspects in this case or released descriptions of the people involved or the vehicle involved. Detectives were seen searching for evidence at the gas station on Saturday as they work on their investigation. Humphrey said her son has been discharged from the hospital and is continuing to recover. Let's bring you to Atlanta now. A 6-year-old boy remains hospitalized after being hit by a car in Atlanta, forcing him to miss the start of the school year as he faces a long road to recovery. Tupac Staples is his name, was hit by a car on May 1st while walking with his family near James Jackson Parkway Northwest and Browntown Road, according to Atlanta police. Officers said the boy was not in a crosswalk when the incident happened, and the driver stayed at the scene without facing charges. Tupac suffered severe injuries, including a broken neck, a punctured lung, internal bleeding, and brain damage. He was rushed to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Arthur M. Blank Hospital, where he remained in a coma until about a week ago. His family said he has shown minor signs of improvement, such as opening his eyes, though he cannot talk yet. I want you to take a listen to what his family had to say.
It's been a struggle. It's been a journey. I'm praying that he at least come half, you feel me, 80% went back, you know, 70%, but just praying and hoping, you know, putting it in God's hands, you know. He ain't been able to talk, he ain't been able to eat, walk, move. The only thing he can do is open his eyes. We'll probably try this year, get him ready for the upcoming year, because he still hurt. Everybody miss him, all his friends from school.
And Tupac was supposed to start second grade at Scott Elementary School. His family believes he may have to learn remotely for the entire school year. Managing the tragedy while preparing 6 other children for the school year has created a severe strain on the family. Tupac's parents have had to cut back on work hours to stay at the hospital over the last 3 months, prompting them to set up a GoFundMe to help cover costs. If you visit our story on our website, fox5atlanta.com, you can find more information about that fundraiser. So those are some of the stories we're following, but there are a whole bunch of other stories we have on our website, fox5atlanta.com, and Fox Local. Our digital content creator, Jamison Moyer, joins us now with stories that are trending right now. Jamison, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tyler. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I am very happy because Miss Joyce Lupiani is back in office, so I'm ecstatic.
So yeah, Joyce is one of our digital content creators as well. She has been on vacation. She's just sitting to the camera left of where Jameson is. She'll be joining us later on this week, I'm sure, to talk about the stories that are trending. But let's talk about the stuff that people are clicking on right now.
Absolutely. So the charges in this story are disturbing, and I just want to say that before we get into it. Reality TV personality Sidney Starr is behind bars in Fulton County, facing severe felony charges involving a minor. Hapeville police arrested the model and television personality whose legal name is Sydney Favors on Sunday at the Embassy Suites on International Boulevard. Police say Favors is charged with sodomy, sexual battery against a child under 16, and aggravated child molestation. Starr, known for her appearances on reality and drama series including Baddies and Empire, remains held in custody at the Fulton County Jail. Investigators confirmed that the case has now been handed over to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office for prosecution, and due to the victim's age, police say that no additional details will be released regarding the case at this time.
So folks are obviously looking at a picture that a Fox 5 Atlanta viewer had sent to us from, it looks like, is this one from when she was arrested?
Yes, this is from her arrest on Sunday at the Embassy Suites. We were, one of our viewers sent us this picture and sent us a little bit about the investigation. And so we reached out to Hapeville police after that and got confirmation of her arrest.
Yeah. Let's take people now to Paulding County. So this is a story that we've been following for quite a long time. We're now hearing that the Paulding County coroner wants to do essentially an inquest, which is essentially another type of investigation into the death of Heather Turner.
Yeah, so coroner Lindsay Eberhardt Fuller announced that she is calling for a formal coroner's inquest into how Heather Turner died. This holds off on changing Turner's official cause of death to suicide. While sheriff's investigators recently closed their probe, ruling the case as a suicide, Coroner Fuller says that key questions remain. She points back to her initial 2017 scene observations, including a missing bullet and signs a wall had been washed down. Now, a civil inquest jury will independently evaluate the evidence and hear sworn witness testimony to determine how Turner died. Fuller says that she plans to hold a press conference in the next 2 weeks to outline the process, and the Paulding County Sheriff's Office has told Fox 5 that it will fully cooperate with this inquest. Tyler?
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see, and eventually they'll a jury for the inquest will look at it and make the determination what the cause of death is. Let's talk about back to school now. We know that a lot of kids in our area are heading back to class today, but a local sheriff's office is warning parents about that thing that everyone does, it seems like. Take that picture, that first day of school picture.
Yeah, and we get it. Everyone wants to show off and just let their friends know. But as kids head back to the classroom, one Georgia Sheriff's Office has a warning for parents that are eager to share those back-to-school photos online. The Haralson County Sheriff's Office is urging families to think twice before posting. Deputies say those cute first-day photos, especially the ones with custom signs, can reveal way too much information to potential online predators. They recommend leaving off details like your child's school name, teacher, age, and grade level. They also suggest checking your privacy settings, cropping out school logos or house numbers in the background, and waiting to post until after your child arrives safely. Now, deputies aren't saying that you have to skip the photo op, just keep those personal details off of social media.
You know, it's funny. I've seen these pictures for years now. A lot of people posting them. People we work with here, friends of mine, post them in general. And I've always thought the same thing. A lot of it puts a lot of information out there. I know in this day and age with people on social media, they like to share a lot. But obviously, it's good advice from the Haralson County Sheriff's Office warning folks about what to do and not to do for those first day of school pictures, because you don't want to put too much information out there. You want to put just enough that you can have a nice memory, but you don't want people who you don't want to have access to it have access. So good advice from the Haralson County Sheriff's Office, Jameson.
Absolutely, especially just coming from investigators who have an inside look at what may go on behind the scenes that maybe the public isn't aware of. Just good advice to heed, like you said.
Jameson, thanks so much for showing us the stories that are trending right now on our website, fox5atlanta.com and Fox Local. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tyler.
And let's stay on the back to school trend here. So a new school in Cobb County is giving students the opportunity to take their education to new heights through hands-on learning experiences. And our Paul Milliken, it was in Ackworth where a class is in session at the Cobb Innovation and Technology Academy.
Well, it's not just the first day of school here. It is the first day ever here at the new CETA campus at Allatoona High School. CETA is the Cobb Innovation and Technology Academy. It is an incredible place where students are getting real-world experience so they can leave here, either go to college or go straight into the workforce, and in this case, into the healthcare field. This is amazing. So Dr. Barney is the executive director. How do you describe what CETA is?
CETA is a place for students to come explore their passions, and that's ultimately what our goal is for them to see what career field interests them the most.
Yeah, and so students are going academically over to Allatoona High School, and then their electives are to come here. They can be one of 4 pathways. What are the pathways here?
So they can do skilled trades, they can do healthcare, aviation, and advanced computing.
Yeah, and am I correct in that? I mean, when they're finished, when they're leaving, in a lot of cases, they already have certifications and things they will need to get jobs.
Absolutely. So they're able to get these certifications, and they can use them while they're in college. They can use them instead of going immediately to college. Their possibilities are endless.
And this school, when I say it's state of the art, that is not hype, that is not over exaggeration, it is state of the art.
It is. We designed this facility and we cut no corners. We made sure we leaned on industry to make sure we have what students need.
Yeah, are you a little bit jealous about the students?
I'm very jealous of the students because this is not what high school looked like when I was there.
Me neither. And just knowing that a lot of these careers are possible. So McKinley is a new student here. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Okay, so why did you want to come to CETA? What brought you here?
I wanted to come to CETA because I'm looking forward to going into the healthcare system when I am older, and I want to just get all those certifications while I can while I'm in high school and get those college credits so I can move forward even faster.
Yeah, that's so great. Do you know what you want to do within the healthcare field yet?
I'm looking towards labor and delivery and stuff like that, or like doing MRI techs,
very cool,
x-rays, and just stuff like that.
Well, and there's probably jobs you don't even know exist yet that you'll learn about here at CETA. So knowing that you're working with like professionals that have actually worked in this field, how exciting is that for you?
That's so exciting because I get to finally like put myself out there and finally like learn everything that I haven't learned yet.
Yeah.
So that's just really exciting.
And by the way, like this is a pretty nice new building, huh?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I got to come here on the Buck Bash and I saw all the mannequins and like one of the toes over there is like black and it's crazy.
Oh, you are like ready to get in there.
Yes, I am.
Well, look, don't look. I'm already an old man, but it's only getting worse for me. So when I need like, you know, a hip or a knee checkup, don't forget me, okay?
Okay, I won't.
Wonderful. I'm recruiting new doctors for me this morning. All right, again, this is the brand new CETA campus. It is incredible at Allatoona High School. Open now.
Yeah, it looks like a very neat facility. It's going to be great for students there to be able to get this hands-on experience as they continue on in their education and maybe get a good idea of what they want to do once they graduate from high school. So I see a lot of you guys in our TikTok chat asking about Nolan Wells. So I just want to get you caught up on what we do know. So I just changed the banner there. Over the weekend, there was, I guess, some toxicology report, purported toxicology report that was put out online. And we are hearing from the Mississippi Department of Public Safety Commissioner. He posted on his Facebook page the other day, basically saying that toxicology report from Nolan Wells circulating through social media on various outlets is fraudulent. Nolan's family, friends, and most importantly, Nolan himself deserve better. He called it the fraudsters trying to do posting things online that aren't real. And so basically they're still trying to figure out what exactly happened, but a lot of folks are obviously talking about the Nolan Wells case where he was found dead in Mississippi while out with friends on a boat. Right now, lots of questions surrounding this. We know that the independent autopsy was released by Wells' family within the last number of days, which did not find severe injuries to his body, but could not determine his cause of death. At a July 22nd press conference, Benjamin Crump, the civil rights attorney who is representing the family, released the preliminary findings conducted by that doctor, and according to investigators, Wells' manner and cause of death could not yet be determined without further investigation. So we are obviously monitoring that story. I see a lot of you guys talking about that. Just wanted to give you a quick update on what we do know. We still have a lot more ahead here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. The time now 1:47. We're back in just 2 minutes. And welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. The time now 1:49 on this Monday afternoon. As millions of college students head back to campus, move-in day can quickly turn into a trip to the emergency room if you're not using the right equipment. Our Chris Rosenthal joins us live with some tips. And Chris, I remember moving in years ago when I went to college, and it was probably my least favorite part of the entire college experience because things are heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. That moving in and moving out, that part is not fun. Things are heavy, and when things are heavy and you're trying to carry them, you can get hurt. And so that's why I'm here at the Northern Tool and Equipment in Marietta, talking with these guys here about some of the equipment, some of the tools, some of the mistakes, frankly, that people make, and some of the ways that you can get around that. So hopefully you don't get hurt. And I got Joseph here, and Joseph, nice to meet you here. And Joseph, actually, he's been doing a lot of moving lately for his family and a sister in college, and so he's got some personal firsthand experience. And first of all, what are some of the mistakes that people make?
So a lot of the mistakes that people make when moving is just being unprepared, not knowing the stakes that go into it, the risks that you're having when you're moving heavy appliances, like if you're having to move a washer, a dryer, dresser, even your bed. So a lot of that stuff is stuff that people they think can move with their own hands. They don't need a dolly, they don't need ratchet straps. And when you have those stuff, you save yourself a lot of the headache, and you're eliminating the risk of stuff falling on you or on your vehicle, or even stuff breaking, and we don't want that to happen.
Absolutely. Being prepared means getting some of the right tools, and you got some examples here. Walk me through some of these things here.
Yeah, so the main thing that people really need is, if you don't have an elevator, you would need a steel stair hand truck. This thing has 3 wheels to where you can literally go up and down the stairs, and I mean, this thing rotates. It can bend in many different degrees of direction. So you're really eliminating the risk of having to move a regular dolly or even carrying heavy stuff. I mean, this thing is rated for 550-pound capacity, which is almost every single regular washer and dryer would be able to carry this load very easily.
Yeah. Moving straps. I was unfamiliar with these, but tell me about this.
Yeah, so with moving straps, you would literally put this on 2 people. They would have to, have this harnessed, and you could carry up to 8,000 pounds. I mean, this is something.
800.
800 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, you can get a lot of, you can go through a lot of areas that have, small nooks and crannies, and it helps eliminate just the load for just one person. As well as, having, bubble wrap if you're having anything that is valuable, material to you, like a television or even other electronics. You really should wrap that thing up with bubble wrap because anything can happen, anything can break, even when, you think that you're moving just the safest. And this is another just like, small little cart. If you're doing your grocery shopping, you're going around campus, you don't have a vehicle. This is something that can really save the load from your arms if you're having to move a lot of different groceries. It really does save the time and the ability.
This right here, this H dolly, when would I want to use this versus a hand truck like this?
Oh, well, I mean, if you're just, moving around just regular flooring services, you're trying to get this to where you want to go to, this thing can move in all different sorts of direction. It has 1,600 pound capacity, as well as the friction on these eliminates the risk of this sliding off, or if you're moving a big old dresser, this is able to save your back.
Yeah, of course, you want to make sure you get the tools that are rated for. I notice these have weight ratings on them, so you want to get ones that are rated for the weight that you're going to be carrying.
Yeah, this is a 3-in-1 aluminum hand truck. It's rated for 500 pound capacity, as well as 770 capacity on the platform mode, which would be here. This is a 3-in-1 hand truck. It can be like a normal hand truck, as you saw earlier, or it can even be tilting in a direction like this, or even sitting down like a platform. So, if you're moving, a big old TV stand, just a lot of different stuff that you're having to move, this is able to save the load and just, save the time. With moving, a lot of the stuff that people run into is that when you don't have the equipment you need, it takes a lot more time, it takes a lot more load into what you're doing.
And of course, that can cause more injuries. Then,
of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it's not just when you get it there. You gotta get it there, right? You gotta get it there in your car. So you got some tips for that as well, huh?
Yeah. And the biggest thing that people need to know is if you're moving stuff on like a hatchback SUV, even a pickup truck, if you're moving like a bed in a box frame, ratchet straps. These things are able to secure your load on the top of the vehicle. You can strap it down, you can drive on the interstate and on the highway, and you don't have to worry about it, moving or, even the risk of falling off. A lot of the time people would just move stuff with regular rope, but with ratchet straps, this has a, 1,500 pound just brake strength. So you can really just be able to move a lot of heavy stuff and not have to worry about it falling off or even, breaking.
Yeah, I think we've all seen cars with items strapped to them, and we've maybe been behind them and been a little bit nervous that things might fall off. Joseph, these are all really great tips. I know we got more to talk about that we can get to some of the later hours this afternoon. But yeah, lots of really great tips here to hopefully keep you safe and get your items also safely into or out of the dorms as you get your students ready for the college season here.
Yeah, Chris, all important advice, making sure you stay safe, but also you want to make sure that the items can actually get in there without causing any damage. We'll be checking with you throughout the afternoon right here on Fox 5 News Live. Chris, thanks so much. And that is going to do it for me for Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. I'm Tyler Finger. Don't go anywhere, though. My good friend Ariel Onstadt will be joining you at the top of the hour for Fox 5 News Live at 2. She has all the headlines, the weather you'll need to know, and also all the stories we're working on right now on Fox 5 News. Don't go anywhere. We're back at the top of the hour.
Welcome in, everybody. Thanks you for your patience. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thank you for being here on your Monday afternoon. It is back to school for a lot of kids here in North Georgia. Many districts here in Metro Atlanta returning to the classroom. Crazy to think we are already here again. So let's get started because we have a lot of stories to talk about related to getting you back in the classroom safely. And one of them deals with some new rules that classrooms are going to see here in North Georgia. As we know, thousands of students are heading back to school. And Atlanta Public Schools actually says it is starting this new school year with no teacher vacancies and a renewed focus on literacy and its Back to Basics 2030 strategic plan. District leaders say they're going to continue building on this with literacy skills remaining a top priority for students this year. APS is launching an accelerated literacy model at 4 elementary schools designed to help students build reading skills more quickly. And over in DeKalb County, they are reinforcing some student device restrictions. So we know that next year we are going to see legislation passed here in Georgia go into effect regarding cell phones for students. But in the meantime, some districts already do have rules in place on what students can and can't do. For example, in DeKalb County, we're going to see stricter enforcement of the district's Disconnect to Reconnect initiative. The district says personal electronic devices, including cell phones, smartwatches, earbuds, recording glasses, and any similar devices are not allowed during school hours, except in situations allowed by law. Some exceptions apply for students with medical or other special plans, but ultimately they say this aligns with Georgia's new Distraction-Free Education Act and exceeds the state's minimum requirements by banning students from accessing personal devices during the school day. The ultimate goal here is to reduce distractions and help students remain focused. One school district, Newton County, is still recovering from a cyber incident. They say that phone services have been restored, but email and other network services are offline while cybersecurity experts and the FBI are trying to figure out this unauthorized activity. They're trying to figure out whether any data was compromised over in Newton schools, and so we'll keep you updated as we get new details there. Wanted to give you an overview with what we're seeing from some of our districts as we're heading back to the classroom. Keep in mind, deputies here in the state of Georgia and law enforcement are issuing a new warning on back to school trends. Ultimately, they say we know parents want to share their kids going back to the classroom, and this is a really exciting time for so many families, but make sure you don't post any photos to the internet with any big identifiers, like the name of your child's school, the child's teacher's name, any grade levels or classroom numbers, age or birth date, home address or a neighborhood. Try to take a photo in a way that would give as few identifying details as possible. You can see this here on your screen. A good way to post, and then a way to post that leaves too many details out there for the public to know and could compromise your child's or your the school that they attend's safety. So they say just make sure that you're being mindful of that as students head back to the classroom. But speaking of threats online, let's talk about what we are seeing here. Our Deidre Dukes has been digging into online threats that students may be facing as they head back to school this week and joins us live. And Deidre, I understand there are a lot of different advocates in our community working to make sure kids and their parents stay safe. Thanks so much for being here with us.
That's right. And of course, as you know, Ariel, this is a real threat to our young people right now in this age of new technology and advancements between AI and a lot of these online platforms. Things are moving so quickly. It's just a challenge to keep up for anybody, much less a parent who's trying to monitor their children's devices. And we're not just talking about the devices that they have purchased for their child, say, you know, the cell phone or the tablets, the laptops at home, but this time of year when many young people are headed back to school, particularly that K through 12 age group, a lot of these young people also are being given access to school-issued laptops and tablets, devices like that. And of course, schools do the best they can as far as ensuring that they have some, things in place, some secure options in place where it keeps kids theoretically from being able to get online to access materials that could be harmful. But as we know, oftentimes one click and you find that these kids are really being exposed to things they should not be exposed to at their age. And so we talked to Tanya Jordan. She is Chief Marketing and Chief Parenting Officer with Bark Technologies. It is a company that has an app that does just this. It helps parents to really monitor what their kids watch online, what they have access to. And we also talked to her about what parents can do as far as working with their children's school to ensure as best they can that their children aren't accessing at school what parents don't want them to see and what they should not see on those devices. We talked to Jordan and she really discussed what she sees as a great threat to our young people, and here's what she had to say.
The pendulum has swung way, way too far on the side of too much access, too soon, unregulated, unmonitored, and children who aren't legally able to vote, drive, drink alcohol, smoke anything, or stay home alone are somehow forced to be the regulators of that. Like, no, they can't self-regulate that. They need parents. We need to swing the pendulum back to just common sense and safety. Like, we don't let children drive cars just right away, right? They have to have driver's ed. We do car insurance. We tell them about seat belts and not drinking and driving. Like, it is a process. There's no difference in danger between a smartphone and a car or a chainsaw, in my opinion.
And so that's why she says it is so important for parents to do whatever they can as far as engaging with their children's schools, checking throughout the year. This just can't be a one-time thing where you set your parental controls or at the beginning of the year you check to make sure that your student's school-issued laptop or other device is secure. It's something that needs to be done, she says, year-round. And then also, too, she says you want to, if at all possible, make sure that the computers, laptops, things of that nature aren't being kept, as she said, behind closed doors, shouldn't be in children's bedrooms. She said you really want to have them out in those communal areas, out in the kitchen, places like that, where mom, dad are around, where they really can keep an eye on exactly what young people are doing, things like that. And then she also said you can use things like ChatGPT, put in your information as far as, this is who my internet provider is. This is, these are the different sites that my child likes to access, say, Snapchat or Roblox, for instance, and just kind of describe in depth what they do and what your concerns are, and ask, how can, I have a smart TV, how can I secure these items, these electronics? And she says that, and again, I'm just using ChatGPT as an example, that it will spell out for you how to go about doing that, kind of make it very simple for the parents to really secure these devices and anything else they want to in the home when it comes to these online platforms. So Ariel, just, this time of year, it's a great time to remind parents of the threats, the dangers that are out there, and so they can do what they can to protect their kids heading into the school year.
Yeah, Deidre, I think it's incredible that she said, Tatiana was saying that a chainsaw, is just as dangerous as social media to kids these days. And to make sure that they don't exist behind closed doors, like you mentioned, interacting with your kids, having a conversation, sitting down, knowing what they're up to, what they're consuming, so important. And especially when you go back to school, they're going to be with their peers, they're going to be in new environments. So just a good reminder, because the online world, I think it continues to evolve, and it's something where there are these threats, and so often shame is a big part of that conversation, and making sure that students feel comfortable to have these conversations is a big way to make sure everyone stays safe.
Absolutely, to talk to, if something comes up, to talk to parents or perhaps a trusted teacher, someone at school, an advisor. But really, as far as parents are concerned, really to try to do everything that they can on the front end, while advocates and others here at the state, local, national level are working to do what they can as far as working with these companies, YouTube and others, to ensure that they have, as much as they can, these different, safety controls in place to try to prevent our children from being really, put in just very bad situations with predators and others who are out there who just do not have our kids' best interest at heart.
Great points, Deidre. Thanks so much for joining us live. I know you're going to be with us again this evening. We look forward to seeing you again then. I'll let you get back to gathering some information. In the meantime, you guys, let's talk about how school didn't go as anticipated for one elementary school this morning. And this was because of a power outage. Ultimately, a tree actually fell and caused some of this damage and caused this elementary school to have to move class for the first day. You're taking a look at the problem here. This tree that fell, and you can see power companies working on it earlier. This happened on Alderbrook Road Northeast just this morning, and it knocked out electricity for over 100 people near Sagamore Hills Elementary School. Crews have been working to clear that fallen tree, and students and staff had to relocate because of the power disruption. Sagamore Hills Elementary is in DeKalb County, in case you are unfamiliar with this elementary school. We're not sure when the classes will resume back in that elementary school, hopefully as soon as they can get power restored, but that is quite a large oak tree that fell, it looks like. So we'll keep you updated as this continues to move forward. In the meantime, let's talk about a tragic situation that we're getting some new details on. This is a 6-year-old boy. We've talked a lot about the challenges he's faced after being hit by a car. Ultimately, he is still in the hospital, and he's missing the first day of school as he faces a long recovery. This little 6-year-old boy's name is Tupac Staples, and he was struck by a car on May 1st while walking with his family near James Jackson Parkway Northwest and Brownton Road. Atlanta police say the boy was not in a crosswalk when the incident happened, and the driver who struck him stayed at the scene and is not facing charges. Tupac suffered severe injuries, including a broken neck, punctured lung, internal bleeding, and brain damage. He was rushed to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, Arthur M. Blank Hospital, where he remained in a coma until about a week ago. His family says he's shown minor signs of improvement, such as opening his eyes, though he cannot talk yet. Take a listen.
I'm praying that he at least come half, 80% went back, 70%, but just praying and hoping he really put it in God's hands. Probably try this year, get him ready for the upcoming year, because he still hurt. Everybody miss him, all his friends from school.
Heartbreaking for this family as they're also trying to navigate helping 6 other children. They have 6 other children besides Tupac, who they're also trying to care for during the school year. So we have information on our website, fox5atlanta.com, and here in the Fox Local app if you'd like to learn more about what they're dealing with. But ultimately, this little boy has woken up from his coma about a week ago, but he just faces a really long road to recovery, and it is likely he may miss the rest of the school year besides just his first day today. Let's talk about what we're learning regarding a road rage shooting. We know now a man has been arrested for this deadly shooting. A 37-year-old man was shot and killed after a violent road rage dispute on Highway 78 westbound Saturday afternoon. And now a 54-year-old man has been arrested. This unfolded on Stone Mountain Freeway, also known as Highway 78, Saturday afternoon, according to the DeKalb County Police Department. This happened and around 3:20 in the afternoon, and when officers got to the scene, they found Napoleon Curtis, the 37-year-old man, dead with multiple gunshots inside of his vehicle off the road. Stone Mountain Police later found 54-year-old Sean Rucker nearby. He was arrested and is now facing murder charges. Authorities believe this all stemmed from a road rage incident. Traffic delays, you can see when this unfolded, snarled things for quite some time. We're not sure what triggered the road rage incident, but ultimately, this is something that we'll keep you updated on as police continue to investigate. Speaking of active investigations, let's talk about the latest unfolding in Midtown. There was a shooting that took out a window to a Starbucks in Midtown, as well as On's Kitchen there. And our Rob DiRienzo is following up on this. So, Rob, really frustrating for these businesses there in Midtown. I know that area so well. I used to live across the street at the Spire, and I know that this is been a real big point of conversation, people trying to understand what led up to the gunfire. What are you learning this afternoon?
Hey there, Ariel. Good afternoon to you. I got a lot more insight about what exactly led up to this shooting here on Thursday night on Peachtree Street right around 10:30. What I'm hearing is a security guard who worked at that building over there told a guy he had to get a move on. And at that point, that guy was not happy to hear that. The security guard tells me from his hospital bed at Grady Memorial Hospital that guy pulled out a gun. So the security guard who was armed pulled out his, and then there was a barrage of gunfire out here. You can see, as you mentioned, On's Vietnamese Kitchen right here still has that part of their door missing. So I spoke with the security guard from his hospital room in Grady earlier today alongside his mom. They are incredibly grateful for 2 quick-thinking Good Samaritans who came over to him after he had been shot, after he had been involved in that shootout. He was laying on the ground right in the middle of Peachtree. A woman came to pray by his side. A man began doing chest compressions. Take a listen to what he had to say from his hotel room, or his.
He was praying over me so well that she said I came right back to life. I really feel like her prayer brought me back to life.
I'm just thankful for her, and I just told her she's family going forward. And from my understanding, the other guy that saved him, he said he hoped he made his mom proud, is what he told her. And so I said, well, he made his other mother proud at this point, because I'll be his mother too going forward.
Such an amazing story, Ariel. So basically what happened was, after all of this happened, his mom put the call out on social media. Do you know this woman? Do you know this man who came and saved my son's life? They were able to find that woman who happened to be visiting from Florida. It was her 62 birthday coming the other day when all of this happened, Ariel. So essentially they were able to track down the woman. They want to now track down the man and offer their thanks. Later on today, we're hearing that that woman's going to stop by Grady and meet him in person. Should be a really touching moment, but as you can imagine, an immense amount of gratitude from this family for those 2 Good Samaritans who came rushing to that security guard's aid here the other night.
Incredible, Rob. It's stories like this where you see there are good people in the world, right, who want to help others despite the tragedy and everything that unfolded. So glad that he has survived and he is doing okay. Have police said anything more about the investigation, the suspect in all of this, and has that been a big point of discussion?
As you can imagine, it has been. I reached out to Atlanta police earlier today. Frustratingly, they didn't have any updates to give us, no persons of interest. As you can see, the bank right here has security cameras. So clearly this thing was captured on security cameras. You got to imagine this is the middle of Midtown Atlanta. There's got to be a lot of video of this person and ultimately where they went off to. I asked Atlanta police if they have any leads they can share with us. All they would tell us is the investigation is ongoing at this time.
Rob, yeah, hopefully police are able to share something soon, because it's not like just one or two, not that this is justified, of course, but it's not like one or two bullets were fired. This is a lot of gunfire, and more people could have been seriously hurt. So, Rob, thanks so much for joining us live, letting us know what you have learned, and we'll see you again later this evening with updates on this story. So thank you. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, you guys, as always, if you have questions on any of the stories we're covering here at 2, feel free to drop them in our chat, TikTok, YouTube. I'll work to get to them. I actually noticed one of you guys commenting here on TikTok, talking a little bit about J. Paul, talking about how literacy in schools, when we were talking about coming back into the classroom, Atlanta Public Schools says they have no teacher vacancies this year, and they're focusing on literacy and going back to the basics. And you were asking, shouldn't literacy be a focus every year? Yes, and I would imagine it is a focus for Atlanta Public Schools and a lot of districts each and every year, but it sounds like this is something that they're wanting to revisit in terms of making sure those foundational skills for literacy are really secure for kids as they head into the classroom. So we'll continue to keep you updated, but this is part of the district's Back to the Basics plans to make sure that kids have a solid foundation before they move on to other skills. As we get any new information, we'll let you know right here on Fox Local. But coming up, you guys, we are going to bring you a little closer to home, check in on your weather forecast with meteorologist Alex Forbes. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstad here with meteorologist Alex Forbes, taking a live look out over Lake Lanier. And this is a sight I feel like we haven't seen for some time, Alex. A clear blue sky over Lake Lanier.
Look how still the water is.
Yeah.
It must be Monday or something.
It must be. But listen, the way that these temperatures have been feeling lately, or maybe it was the lower dew point over the weekend, I don't know. Whatever it was, I have to say, it's going to make some people not arrive to work because it's so nice out. You know what I'm saying?
They're going to be sick on the first day of school.
They're going to be sick, yeah.
Forsyth County goes back on Thursday.
Okay.
So that our camera is in Forsyth County. We're looking over towards Hall County, and I am genuinely shocked that there are not more people out on the lake right now. Because as far as they're concerned, it's still summer break, and it is a really nice day out there. There are a couple of showers that we'll take a look at on Fox 5 Live Viper, but by and large, most people are dry right now. Here's how it shapes up in Atlanta. This is Hartsfield, where the official observation site for Atlanta is. So whenever we show you the temperature for the city, the standard practice across the entire United States is that the airports are the official observation sites. I could get into a whole litany of reasons behind that, but I'm not going to do it because it's a long explanation. But there is a reason for that if you ever care to know, it would be fun to Google. Notice you've got showers and storms down south and east of our area. That's the focal point today. We just have scattered showers across portions of northern Georgia. 83 in Atlanta. I'm looking for about 85 as a high temperature, 86 in Covington, 88 over in Eatonton right now. So for the remainder of the day today, looking for a degree or two more in the temperature department before things begin to cool off this evening. And we'll just be looking for a scattered shower or two. It's possible you get a strike of lightning in a handful of spots later this evening, but I expect by and large the general trend to be dry, and I hope you enjoy it because that rain chance is doubled tomorrow up to 60%, and then we will remain unsettled into the weekend as our high temperatures come up a little closer to average for this back-to-school week, which average high is 90. Do you know what happens next week? Were you eavesdropping last hour?
I was actually, and I was delighted.
Yes. 89.
Pretty great.
Then 88. And then, the trend into fall.
I mean, when I checked my weather app this morning, the Fox 5 Storm Team app, of course.
Download on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
That's right. Thank you for that. When I checked it as I was going to my workout, it was 72 degrees outside.
Yep. And we were talking about, it felt nice outside, but when we get that first splash of fake fall, we're going to be like, that was nothing. 61 and no humidity, the light jacket on a September morning, that's what's on the horizon.
Listen, I'm ready for it. I'm a little over just the gray. Like, we're in the opposite of winter where it's like still gray and dreary and rainy all the time, but instead of it being like freezing cold, it's just muggy and so hot you can't do much outside.
Polar opposite.
Yeah. Anyway, Alex, thank you so much. Guys, let's continue along here. I want to talk about the latest that we're following regarding a shooting at an In-N-Out in Idaho. Police have now identified the shooter, and here are the latest details just into our newsroom. They say that the shooter died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and while his motives are unclear, the FBI is also assisting in the investigation. At least 3 people are dead and 7 others hurt after a gunman opened fire at this In-N-Out restaurant in Twin Falls, Idaho. The shooter later turned the gun on himself, and first responders say that he is 24-year-old Chad Williams. Police are trying to figure out why he did this, but feel confident he acted alone and say his family is cooperating. Law enforcement also confirmed there was an off-duty state trooper and a citizen who actively engaged with the suspect. You may have seen video on social media of some bystanders pulling out their weapons. The FBI says that there are potentially hundreds of witnesses who need to be interviewed. Sam Farrell is one of them. He says he was near the In-N-Out and heard the popping sounds. I'd like to let you listen to what the sheriff and police chief are saying, as well as that witness.
Our thoughts and prayers are with every person whose life has been forever changed by this heartbreaking event. Incidents like this leave an impact that reaches far beyond the scene. They affect families, co-workers, first responders, and an entire community that now grieves together.
One of the most chaotic instances a law enforcement officer can face in their career. Long moment and commend the actions of the off-duty officer and the citizen in their heroic action to stop this incident. We believe their actions helped drive the suspect away from the scene, preventing further casualties.
I remember just seeing people running, screaming. Somebody was saying shooting, 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 and running the opposite direction of where I was driving to.
Now, the president of In-N-Out confirms one of the people killed was a restaurant employee. On Capitol Hill, let's get to the latest regarding the president's anti-weaponization fund, because it has now officially dead. It has been put into writing. So at this point, Attorney General Todd Blanche's path to losing the word acting before his title might be easier after he ended the nearly $1.8 billion weaponization fund. The confirmation, or he was facing scrutiny in his confirmation, and now his confirmation becomes much more likely as of last night, because he formally put into writing that the controversial weaponization fund is dead and will stay dead. The fund would have used almost $1.8 billion in taxpayer money to compensate people who believe they were victims of government weaponization. It was part of a deal in exchange for the president dropping his lawsuit over his leaked tax returns against the IRS, prompting criticism from both sides of the aisle. Late Sunday, Blanche posted of the fund, quote, "No funds were transferred, no process for receiving claims was established, and no claims were paid." Republican Senators John Cornyn and Tom Tillis wanted this in writing before they supported Blanche's nomination. They now have it. President Trump, however, is threatening to resurrect the fund if Blanche isn't confirmed. Cornyn and Tillis also wanted assurances on another part of that settlement, which shields the President Trump and his family members from IRS audits or penalties. Blanche's memo briefly touches on that and uses the word retroactively. The Senate Judiciary Committee is voting on Blanche's nomination tomorrow. If it passes, the full Senate will hold a final vote later this week. And we'll keep you updated on that vote when they are expecting to hold that and the timing of it all. I'll let you know right here on Fox Local. In the meantime, let's talk about what's happening with Iran, because President Trump is now saying that this is Iran's last hope to avoid an escalation of United States strikes if they do not strike a deal. And that is because negotiators are now coming back to the table to talk about working out a potential treaty. Diplomacy may not be dead because President Trump has said that negotiations are continuing this afternoon after he called off a major attack that was planned over the weekend. Several regional allies, Saudi Arabia and others, reportedly asked President Trump to hold off and to go back to the negotiating table based on what Iran was asking. This deal could potentially reopen the Strait of Hormuz fully and end Iran's nuclear threat. But if you have deja vu, because you've heard me say this before, yes, we have heard this before. So we are waiting to see what can happen from those negotiations. The president is skeptical, but wanting to see if the Iranians are serious this time. Secretary of State Marco Rubio believes this round of negotiations will be more successful because Iran's defensive capabilities have now been severely degraded. Take a listen to what the secretary had to say.
No longer have that shield, that conventional shield that they could hide behind. And that's changed the whole dynamic. It's the only reason why they are now willing, and in some cases seem eager, to do a deal on denuclearization, to do a deal on the Straits.
Democrats on the other side say the president doesn't have a real plan to officially put an end to the conflict, while most Republicans are standing by President Trump, even if it costs them in the midterms in November. It does not appear that the U.S. and Iran are holding direct talks today. Instead, the Iranian leadership is negotiating with mediators in Oman. And you're taking a live look from the Oval Office, where President Trump has signed an executive order today, and he discussed how today is Iran's, or this round of negotiations is Iran's last hope before the United States were to strike again in a very significant way. Let's talk about the latest regarding Dr. Fauci and what the aftermath is after his Senate testimony, or excuse me, his testimony on Capitol Hill, rather. But a Senate panel is going to vote on whether or not to hold him in contempt of Congress. Dr. Anthony Fauci refused to answer questions last Wednesday, invoking the 15th the Fifth Amendment a staggering 111 times. Ultimately, contempt of Congress votes usually go to the floor, but they can be subject to a filibuster. It takes 60 yeas to neutralize a filibuster. Homeland Security Committee Chairman Rand Paul intends to bypass that option. The question is whether or not the DOJ will prosecute. In 2014, former IRS official Lois Lerner invoked the Fifth Amendment before a House panel, but after commenting to the committee, Anthony Fauci did not talk to the committee, and now Senate Republicans are going to speak with their votes on whether or not to hold him in contempt. As it relates to Lois Lerner, the House held her in contempt, but the DOJ never prosecuted. Democrats believe Fauci is on strong legal footing. The DOJ, though, decides who it prosecutes as it relates to contempt of Congress cases. The George W. Bush administration refused to prosecute White House counsel Harriet Miers after the House held her in contempt. and the same with the Obama administration for Attorney General Eric Holder. So even though Fauci may be held in contempt, whether or not there is any consequence of that remains to be seen. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, we're going to bring you a little closer to home. I want to talk about the latest regarding some flooding that we have seen here in very North Georgia in McKaysville. Our Ray Urena is going to join us live to talk about what they're experiencing. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being live with us here at 2 o'clock. We've talked about a lot of things today. Back to school, some national headlines. As always, if you have a question about anything we've been covering or you want to see something covered that I haven't chatted about yet, drop it in the chat and I'll work to get it in for you. In the meantime, let's go out to Paulding County, where Saturday night an overwhelming storm system moved through and officials say dropped 7 inches of rain in 8 hours. Ray Urena joining us live. Ray, this is absolutely incredible amount of rainfall. I understand that the county or the town of McKaysville has now been faced with some of the severe flooding.
Yeah, and that flooding dried up yesterday, Ariel. But I want to show you over here to our right real quick because we do have the Wolf Creek Fire Department. On the other side of this fire engine, they're actually spraying a lot of water on the sidewalk, and you can see the end result. They're trying to clean up any of the residual mud and dirt and debris that's been left over after all that flooding that happened late Saturday night into Sunday morning. And if you were with us yesterday, you saw David Correa here in the Rum Cake Lady Cafe. We just ran into him right before you came to us, and he says that while he was able to clean for more than 10 hours yesterday, he says unfortunately he just realized that his walk-in freezer has went on the fritz, and now he is losing about $10,000 worth of merchandise, or if not more, tens of thousands of dollars of merchandise, I should say. But you can get a look at the firefighters spraying the water here. We just moved from the sidewalk so we didn't get splattered with all that water, but this is kind of what the cleanup process is going on. Now, officials say that there is a boil water advisory that is still in place for people who get their water from the city of McKaysville, and that's why a lot of the restaurants, this is a very much a tourist hotspot in the North Georgia mountains, and they say this is why all these businesses are closed because of this boil water advisory. Yesterday, the police chief told me that it compared it to kind of like the Chocolate River from the Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory movie, if you get that reference. So he says they were trying to work everything out. They said that the washouts caused a lot of water main breaks and a lot of issues with their water system in McKaysville, Georgia. So they are trying to sort through all that out. Now, the police chief says all of this recovery is still continuing on today. In fact, the Tennessee Valley Authority actually brought in 22 pallets of bottled water for the people of McKaysville so that they'll be able to drink some water. We talked to the police chief again earlier today. Here's what he had to say.
Most of the debris in town was from the road construction. It was the construction material that's been put in on State Highway 5. It just washed into the town area. One of the biggest issues we had as well was the water was bumping the bottom of the bridge on the Toccoa River. So once all the debris came into town, clogged our storm drains, the water had nowhere to go.
And earlier today, we got a statement from the Georgia Department of Transportation about that flooding. I'm going to read that statement in full here. They say on Saturday night, an overwhelming storm system moved through Paulding County, dropping more than 7 inches of rain in 8 hours, resulting in flash flood conditions. It's the type of storm that they say has less than a 1% chance of impacting this area on any given year. And no project or drainage system is built to handle a storm cell of this magnitude or the resulting flash flooding that occurred. And the storm overwhelmed drainage system has swept through roadways and construction sites, GDOT says, and their contracted crews worked to recover these systems and reopen the roadway after about 20 hours of cleanup. Officials went on to say that they thanked everybody who assisted in the cleanup and that they will look into future mitigation strategies in the near future. That's their assurance to this community, which is still recovering from what the police chief described as chest-high deep water from over the weekend, Ariel.
Incredible, Ray, especially when you think about how quickly these waters can move in and how quickly they can move out. Because if you were in McKaysville right now and you didn't know the area well, you might not know the signs or realize that is what so many were dealing with. So I'm curious to see moving forward if there's anything they can do to kind of fix this, but I understand that it's something they're navigating. And Ray, as a kind of final thought here, hopefully those business owners are able to get back to normal, because I understand it can be so frustrating when you pour so much into your business and then something like this ruins it.
Yeah, Ariel, and like I mentioned earlier, this is very much a tourist hotspot. So you can see all this crime scene tape is up just to tell people, hey, the businesses are closed. But just to give you an idea of how close we are to the state line, we're going to walk around here. You see this sign here and this blue line. I'm crossing over now from Maysville, Georgia to Copper Hill, Tennessee. This is kind of how the state line works. These are the two sister cities. The police chief tells us that on this side of the state line and down that way, they are having some infrastructure issues as well. In fact, we talked to a family right there at Mexico Local, which is just like a storefront or two away from us. They're also shut down because of the water issues that they've been having. And this is such a tourist attraction type of area just because of the way these two cities work in the mountains. There's a lot of people, the police chief says, who live in this area that depend on the shops and the restaurants being open and serving these tourists as well as the locals. So them going without a paycheck, he says, in this economy is tough on them.
Yeah, really good point. Just incredible. Ray, thank you for joining us live, sending lots of good vibes, and hopefully people can get back on their feet. I know you're going to join us later this evening to let us know about the latest regarding these efforts. And of course, if there's any way that the community can help out, let us know based on what's being shared with you. So Ray, thank you. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, let's continue talking about back to school, because guess what? Not only are kids headed back to the elementary school classrooms, soon enough, a lot of parents are working to get their kids moved into college. And our Chris Rosenthal went out to check in on ways that you can safely move your kids into their dorm room. Because Chris, I understand a lot of parents might go away, help their kids put up some paintings, put together some furniture, get everything nice and homey, and maybe they do a little too much in the process, hurt their backs. You know, maybe there are tools out there that can help make the job a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. There are a lot of ways to get hurt moving. Like you said, you could hurt your back, you could drop something on yourself, on your toes and your feet. A lot of people go to the emergency room every year, just improperly moving or just not doing it the right way, not having the right tools. So I'm here at Northern Tool and Equipment in Marietta to get some advice here on what we can do to move safely. And I have Joseph here. And Joseph, tell me, first of all, what are some of the mistakes that people make when they're moving?
Yeah, so people's main mistakes that they, have when they're moving is, they buy stuff that they don't need, or they just don't buy the right equipment at all. It's really just about being prepared when you're moving your child into their college, into their apartment, into their dorm. That's the best thing to have, is just preparation. The right equipment, saves just your back, it saves time, and, you're eliminating risk from even hurting yourself. Safety is the biggest key when it comes to moving stuff, and that's really the most important factor.
Yeah. Hurting yourself and potentially damaging your goods as well. So,
of course.
And Joseph here, he's got a lot of experience. He was just moving his sister. He's moved. He's kind of the man of the family.
I've moved like 3 times this year, so it's not fun.
Yeah, so you know your stuff here. So show me some of the items here you're talking about. Some of the tools that you say you can use to help make that job safer.
If your dorm or apartment doesn't have an elevator, these are steel stair climber hand trucks. These can have 550 pounds of capacity, and you got 3 wheels, so if you're going up the stairs, these give you maximum capability when it comes to really moving what you need to move.
Yeah, so you're not carrying up the stairs that way. And moving straps, you're talking about those, huh?
Yeah. Moving straps, these are for 2 people to move, appliances, in tight spaces. I mean, these have 800 pounds of, capacity. So if you got 2 people with decent backs, I mean, they can be able to move stuff around without having to make it really hard.
Gotcha. And some of these other, I'll tell you what, hand trucks versus dollies. What do we? When would we use each?
I mean, you'd really be using a hand truck if you're, having to move something that's more narrow, and if you're moving stuff like a dolly, like if you're having to move like a wide dresser or even like a TV stand, this would be the best thing. This has 1,600 pounds of capacity, has strong friction on it, so it's not going to slip off of this dolly at all, and this thing can move in any direction that you want, so it really has a lot of capabilities.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of these tools have like a capacity, a weight on them, so you want to make sure you get the right size weight rating for what you're carrying, huh?
Of course.
Yeah, and you have some other ones here they designed to make it a little easier, huh?
Mm-hmm. Got your 3-in-1 aluminum hand truck. This can transform into a regular hand truck dolly, but if you need this thing to tilt, this thing can really, tilt and carry stuff like a fridge or even a washer and dryer. And if you're moving stuff that's a lot more wide, it can also turn into a platform. And these have a weight capacity of 550 pounds to even 770. So they can really handle a lot of heavy stuff. A lot of different stuff like suitcases, appliances. They have a lot of different factors to them.
All right. Well, Joseph, thanks for joining us. We're going to hang out with you a little bit more here at 3 o'clock, talk more about some of these tools and some other tools that you can use to help safely transport those items in your car or truck. So back to you, Ariel.
Chris, lots of good advice. Sometimes I'm looking at some of what you're showing me and I'm like, my goodness, why didn't I think of this, or why didn't I use this when I was moving into college? Because it would have saved a lot of grief. I can tell you that much. Chris Rosenthal, thank you. We'll see you again here upcoming at 3 o'clock. Guys, as we continue here at 2, we are going to take you out to Henry County. Eli Jordan is talking about what you need to know regarding school speed zone cameras. Keep in mind, it is that time of year again. So stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here live with us during the 2 o'clock hour on your Monday afternoon. So let's talk about school speed zone cameras, because a lot of us may have been used to just putting those in our rear view mirror, so to speak. But now we are back to school, and Eli Jordan joins us live from Henry County. Eli, definitely something that people need to keep an eye on. What are some things that you're learning from speaking with officials there in Henry County?
Well, I mean, hello, Ariel. I've learned actually a good bit. I travel this road a good bit. This is Unity Grove Elementary, and it's a nice little stretch here, maybe about a half-mile stretch, and they have cameras here. And with this being an elementary school, school starts at 7:35 and it ends at 2:15. But the camera, which is right here, that camera is active an hour before school and an hour after school lets out. So if you're zipping through here and you're kind of late for work and you need to be there by like 6:45 or something, and you come through here during the 6 o'clock hour, after 6:30, you're going to get a ticket if you're going too fast, even if school doesn't open for another hour. So these cameras turn on, they're active all day long, from an hour before when school starts to an hour after school starts. So you got to be aware. But another caveat to this, though, here in Henry County at their 53 schools, depending on which grade level the school is, well, they start school at different times and they wrap up school at different times. So you got to be really aware of which school you're going by. Just in other words, if you're going by a school, go by the posted speed limit, because otherwise you're going to risk getting a ticket. And so you got to be careful out there. And also, too, use patience. Watch out for crossing guards. I spoke to the Executive Director of Communications here in Henry County School System, Kyle Sears, and here's what he has to say. We got crossing guards. We have students loading on buses. We have buses coming in and out. Should people allow for time if they're passing by a school?
Yeah, especially these first couple of weeks of school, patience is really the operative word. Everybody's getting back into their routine, whether it's our drivers and our students back in the routine of finding their school bus stop and getting on the bus, or our schools who are handling arrival and dismissal procedures, or our parents who are doing drop-off and pick-up in the afternoons. We'll see a lot of congestion these first couple of weeks as people do get back into those routines, and then pretty soon it'll be smooth sailing.
How many schools does the county have?
53 schools.
53 schools. So we got 53 areas we need to be, cautious about, right?
Right. Some of them are in clusters, and those clusters can get very congested in the mornings and afternoons. Some of them, like here at Unity Grove, we're a little more spread out.
And I guess also, too, high schools, we got not only parents picking up underclassmen, but we also have upperclassmen who freshly got a license and driving around. And that's going to be kind of hairy some, too, right?
Yep. Those student drivers out on the street. Again, I think really the key thing is just to pay attention to the signage, pay attention to the crossing guards, and exercise patience and caution anytime you're near a school.
Anytime you're near a school, just be patient. It's not going to take you that long to get through. You might be running behind. Just, might give you about a minute late, minute and a half late or whatever. But, these cameras are on all day from an hour before when school starts to an hour after school starts. And if you're going more than 10 miles an hour over the posted speed limit, you're going to get a ticket. Now, just a few minutes ago, this whole road was packed with cars. And so, not only you got to worry about speeding tickets with the camera, but you got to just worry about the traffic, because people are topping the hill. They're like, oh yeah, school's in session. They got to slow down, and then you got a whole line of cars you got to get around and be careful. And you might have some kids running in and out, but they're pretty good here with the crossing guards. But still, use caution. Everybody's getting back into the whole rhythm of things, and here in a couple of weeks we should get back to normal. Ariel?
Eli, good to know. Thanks for the feedback from Henry County. It's good to realize that just because school may not be in session, those cameras can be activated an hour before, an hour after, and we're in our routine so often. We go a certain speed limit during a certain period of time, but school's back in session. Good to be mindful of that as we are out of the summer months. So, Eli, thanks so much. We'll see you again here upcoming at 3 o'clock. You guys, taking a look at our timing here, we are about to begin our 3 o'clock hour. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Tom Haynes is on his way. He'll have the latest updates for you here incoming at 3 o'clock.
Good Monday afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. So happy you're with us this afternoon to kick off the work week. And for a lot of you, in fact, most of you, to kick off a new year of school. Thousands and thousands of kids went back to school today. We're going to be talking about that here coming up in the 3 p.m. streaming hour. In fact, thousands of students across Metro Atlanta, North Georgia for that matter, headed back to class today for the first day of the new school year. Take a look. Our cameras were out there. Districts kicking off the term with fresh initiatives, stricter rules on things like cell phone use and personal devices. Atlanta Public Schools welcome back students with a fully staffed teaching workforce and a renewed focus on literacy and in their strategic plan. Meanwhile, in DeKalb County, officials are enforcing heavier electronic device restrictions aligned with Georgia's Distraction-Free Education Act to keep kids focused in the classroom. Coming up later here in the hour, we're going to check in with our Eli Jordan on those controversial school zone traffic cameras. Have you ever gotten an unwelcome letter in the mail from one of those school zone traffic cameras fining you for speeding in a school zone? Well, they're now reactivated in many areas. We're going to check in with Eli here coming up in just a couple of minutes. Parents in Haralson County are getting a timely safety warning before posting those first day of school photos online today. Deputies are urging families to think twice before sharing pictures filled with personal details like school names, teachers, faces, names of students. Safety experts say background logos, bus numbers, and custom board stats can unintentionally give predators easy access to a child's location and routine. Parents are advised to crop out identifying markers, keep privacy settings tight, or wait to post until after kids are safely inside. I want to talk about a dramatic first day of school for students at Sagamore Hills Elementary School in DeKalb County. They started the school day without power. In fact, without power to the entire campus there. Take a look at these pictures after that massive tree went down. The tree crashed near Edelbrook Road on Monday morning, tearing down lines, leaving over 100 Georgia Power customers in the dark in the surrounding area. Skyfox 5 was overhead, as you could see, as utility crews worked to get that tree out of there and fix those power lines. Because of the outage, all Sagamore Hills students and staff were relocated to nearby Lakeside High School for the day. How about that for the first day of school? District officials say students will return to Sagamore Hills in time for normal dismissal. No injuries were reported when this huge tree went down, causing that power outage at that school. Well, an Atlanta family is celebrating a miracle today after a 6-year-old boy woke up from a 3-month coma. We're talking about Tupac Staples, struck by a car back in May while walking with his family near James Jackson Parkway. He was rushed to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta with severe injuries, including a broken neck and brain damage. While he missed his first day of 2nd grade today, his family is praising God just to see him open his eyes.
I'm praying that he at least come half, you feel me, 80% went back, you know, 70%, but just praying and hoping, you know, putting it in God's hands. I tried this year, getting ready for the upcoming year, because he still hurt. Everybody miss him, all his friends from school.
The father of little Tupac, doctors say that Tupac still has a long road to recovery. His family expects he'll likely have to learn remotely during the school year. Now on to a deadly road rage shooting to tell you about this afternoon. A man dead, another man behind bars after an afternoon dispute on the Stone Mountain Freeway. DeKalb County police say 37-year-old Napoleon Curtis was found shot to death Saturday inside a vehicle just off of Highway 78 near the Gwinnett County line. Investigators say the shooting stemmed from an on-road confrontation that created heavy traffic delays near Stone Mountain Park. Officers located 54-year-old Sean Rucker nearby. He was arrested and is now charged with murder. Detectives are still working to determine exactly what triggered that shooting, again, on Stone Mountain Freeway overnight. The murder trial of a Georgia teenager, Sarah Grace Patrick, delayed again after both sides agreed to postpone Monday's proceedings in Carroll County. Patrick is accused of fatally shooting her mother and stepfather in the back in February of 2025. Defense attorneys sought a continuance, saying newly surfaced evidence requires more time to examine forensic issues, DFACS records, and recent testing involving another firearm. Prosecutors maintain that this separate weapon is unrelated to the case. Patrick, now 18, has pleaded not guilty and remains jailed without bond. A new trial date is expected by the end of the week. Now to Coweta County, where deputies are sharing new details on a wild high-speed motorcycle chase that ended in an arrest. Officers saved lives by boxing in the driver after weaving in and out of the interstate to escape. Let's get out to our Doug Evans, who's on top of this story for us this afternoon. Doug?
Hey there, Tom. You know, one of the last questions we ever ask the police when they get involved in these high-speed chases is, why did the guy run, right? And it's kind of ironic and interesting because it's really the first thing that the person considers when they do run. You know, do I want to get caught doing this, or do I want to try to make a run for it? In this case, they say that Joseph Littlejohn had a substantial quantity of meth on him. He also had no license because his license had been suspended. He had no insurance, had no tag. So perhaps that was the reason that he did not pull over when they saw him going down the interstate without a driver's license. They say he revved his engine, never pulled over, just sped away at 140 miles an hour. They say at one point he got off at the Moreland exit. That's kind of in southern Coweta County, and then tried to make a run through it, going through a dark field, and then got back on the interstate. It's there that they were able to box Littlejohn in. He did hit a deputy's car during that procedure, and I don't think he's been charged with that. I can tell you what he has been charged with, though. Felony fleeing, possession of meth, driving on a suspended license, no insurance, reckless driving, hit and run. Okay, there you go. That's the charge for hitting the deputy's car and then driving on the wrong side of the road. So again, Joseph Littlejohn, he's from Carrollton. He's 34 years old, facing some big-time charges here in Coweta County after this chase the other night. And Tom, I can tell you, you know, with these motorcycles, they're pretty wily. It's pretty rare that they catch these guys. So it says something that they were able to catch this guy even when he went off road and everything else and got back on the interstate.
Yeah, Doug, we've been waiting for some video that we hope we have to show exactly how this chase went down. We haven't seen it so far, but I can imagine.
Oh, that's a shame.
It is. Not that we don't like looking at your handsome face, but these chases captured on police dash cam are extraordinary. And here we go. We're looking at it right now, and we can see it's a little dark, so it's hard to make out. But
well, in that first scene, you can actually hear, if we could hear it, you could actually hear Littlejohn's motorcycle rev when he decides not to pull over. Man, he boom! And then he is off like a rocket down the interstate. And as we said, Tom, 140 miles an hour. Then he gets off at the Moreland exit. They try to pin him in there, and then he goes off-road. Driving across a dark field at night on a motorcycle, that guy has no idea what's out in that field. He survives it, though, and gets back on the interstate. And it's there that they were able, Tom, to box him in using a procedure that they actually practice, right? Where it takes 3 cars, box him in front, on the side, and behind. There's the median wall on the other side. He just has no place to go.
I'm wondering about the motorcycle aspect of this chase, though. Sometimes jurisdictions won't go after motorcycles. They're just too fast for the police vehicles, and they can cause real danger not only for the deputies who are pursuing them, but then surrounding pedestrians, traffic, or whatever. But I'm guessing those rules don't apply down in Coweta. Maybe they have more open roadways in order to chase these guys down.
Well, I think it also has something to do with the fact of how comfortable was Joseph Littlejohn with the speed of his bike. They say 140 miles an hour. Those bikes, a lot of them are capable of going much, much faster than that. Speed is one of the reasons that it's so difficult to catch the motorcycles, according to police. The other thing is they're just so nimble, right? And so every once in a while they do catch them. It's not that they don't try, especially down here. The GSP had some success with a motorcycle down here recently, within the past couple of months, and now Coweta County as well.
Incredible, and glad nobody was hurt during this chase, but extraordinary video there, Doug. Doug Evans live for us down in Coweta. Doug, thanks so much. We've talked about those teen takeovers on our area streets. They usually happen at night, where teens gather and get into all kinds of mischief. But another daytime street takeover in DeKalb County this afternoon has neighbors on edge after a dangerous intersection blockage was captured on camera. Annie Mapp live with a look at that neighborhood video and the arrest, Annie, that police just made.
This is where that latest takeover happened yesterday evening, 6 o'clock. DeKalb County police responded and did make an arrest of an individual. But this is something that residents tell us they have been dealing with for over a year now. They tell us that these participants show up and they block off a large portion of this neighborhood. They park their cars all throughout the area, and then you're not able to get by because, again, they block off that side of the street, this side as well, and they start doing donuts in the middle of the road until police end up showing up. You probably see those skid marks that were still left on the street. Yesterday, they managed to stay there for maybe about 20 minutes or so until police were called and they arrived, and then they all dispersed. But again, this is something that has become a nightmare for people who live in this area. They say it's noisy. They say they feel like they are in danger, as sometimes these folks are also just randomly firing weapons. They do describe it as being people of all ages. While they do believe they are probably younger, early 20s, or probably 19, 18 age range, if not younger than that. We were able to speak to some residents. Many are fearful of even showing their faces on camera because they say they have been threatened by some of these individuals who have been out here when they try to come out and, ask them to leave. So one resident did show his face, however, and he's very upset. Take a listen at what he said.
Can't get into the neighborhood, can't get into their homes. I couldn't get into my house yesterday initially. I had a four-wheel drive, had to drive over the median to get back to my driveway. People, I saw several commercial trucks that were stopped in the middle of the road. They couldn't move and keep doing their business.
Yeah, and neighbors tell me they want to see tag readers, they want to see cameras. They are actually all going to go to one of these town halls that the DeKalb County Police Department is hosting this week. I believe that's on Wednesday, where they will share just their thoughts and their concerns with the police department in hopes that something can be done, because they say they don't want to continue having to deal with this, Tom.
Well, Annie, as we talked about, you hear a lot about the nighttime takeovers, not so much during the day. Is it kind of a new phenomenon? Is it something that's been going on, kind of taking this particular neighborhood off guard? Because we just don't hear about like daytime activity, especially, well, it's the first day of school. Maybe it'll kind of mitigate itself, but especially now that school's like back in session, a little bit of a strange phenomenon here.
It's definitely quite rare. That neighbor who you just heard from told us that they were originally happening between the hours of 10 at night to maybe up until 1 or 2 in the morning. But yesterday, again, there was daylight at that hour when they decided to block off the street. I mean, traffic was backed up. He said 18-wheelers, were just stopped while these guys decided that they wanted to randomly do donuts in the street. And then he said back in April, they also did one of these daylight takeovers. I don't know why they've decided, to go from the night to day. I don't know, maybe consideration of people who work the next day, who knows. But it is frustrating for these people because they say they could be inside their home and they still hear the loud noise from the folks who are out here doing donuts or street racing.
Yeah, it's upsetting and unsettling, to say the least. Annie Mapp live for us in DeKalb County this afternoon with this daytime takeover. Annie, thanks. Back to national news now, and that horrific shooting inside an In-N-Out Burger restaurant. Police identifying the shooter now, who opened fire at an Idaho In-N-Out restaurant over the weekend, leaving 3 people dead and 7 others injured. This In-N-Out Burger was it was like the first day it was open and in operation. Investigators say 24-year-old Chad Williams died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. An off-duty state trooper and a bystander fired back, driving him away from the scene. Officials say an In-N-Out employee was among those killed. The FBI is assisting local police as they interview hundreds of witnesses to determine a motive. Police and a witness described the terror as the gunfire began.
Our thoughts and prayers are with every person whose life has been forever changed by this heartbreaking event. Incidents like this leave an impact that reaches far beyond the scene. They affect families, co-workers, first responders, and an entire community that now grieves together.
One of the most chaotic instances a law enforcement officer can face in their career. Long moment and commend the actions of the off-duty officer and the citizen in their heroic action to stop this incident. We believe their actions helped drive the suspect away from the scene, preventing further casualties.
I remember just seeing people running, screaming. Somebody was saying shooting, 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 and running the opposite direction of where I was driving to.
Wow, how scary. Authorities believe the suspect acted alone and say his family is now cooperating with investigators. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche may now have a much clearer path to full confirmation after a pending controversial nearly $1.8 billion weaponization fund. Sunday night, Blanche confirmed in writing that no money was transferred, no claims were paid, and the fund is officially dead. The proposed taxpayer-funded settlement drew heavy fire from both sides of the aisle. Key Republicans demanded written assurances ending the fund before supporting Blanche's nomination. President Trump said that he threatened to put the fund back on the table if Blanche is not confirmed. The Senate Judiciary Committee votes on his nomination tomorrow, with a full Senate vote expected later this week. Diplomacy may be dead with Iran. President Trump says the negotiations are resuming after he called a major military strike off over the weekend at the request of regional allies. The goal was to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and end Iran's nuclear threat. The Secretary of State Marco Rubio says degraded defenses are forcing Iran to talk about Democrats arguing the administration's lack of a clear exit plan.
Longer have that shield, that conventional shield that they could hide behind. And that's changed the whole dynamic. It's the only reason why they are now willing, and in some cases seem eager, to do a deal on denuclearization, to do a deal on the straits.
Talks are being held still through mediators in Oman as both sides work to reach a deal on that issue. A Senate panel is preparing to vote on holding Dr. Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress after he invoked the Fifth Amendment more than 100 times during testimony last week. Homeland Security Committee Chairman Rand Paul plans to bypass a full Senate floor vote and send a criminal referral directly to the Department of Justice. Republicans argue Fauci waived his right to silence by making opening remarks before refusing to answer questions. Democrats maintain Fauci is on solid legal footing and call the proceedings a political strategy. Ultimately, the decision on whether to prosecute Fauci's Fauci is solely with the Department of Justice. Coming up here as we continue on this Monday edition of the 3 p.m. streaming hour on Fox Local, Gwinnett County mother in court this morning after police say she left her 1-year-old child in a hot car. We're going to talk about that when we continue. Wow. All right, welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour. Tom Haynes, meteorologist Alex Forbes here. Alex, tracking this beginning of the work week forecast for us. I still feel, in a way, that, the mornings aren't so hot and muggy. Still a little, not saying the cool side, but
no,
at least not that horrible humidity when you walk out.
Not as bad as it could be.
Yeah,
that's I think the key across the metro area, because late July, early August, this is when you see heat index values 110, 112, 115, and it's 85 degrees outside. So what more can you ask for? This is a live look up in Dawsonville. I think it really tells the story. You see the mountains, bottom of the screen off in the distance, but also notice you get some of the darker clouds, and the rain shafts are actually what you're looking at, as particularly there in the dead middle part of your screen as we're tracking some scattered showers out there on Fox 5 Live Viper. Now, here's what we're looking at. First, let's go up towards what we just saw. So the camera is there in Dawsonville. We were looking at the showers up near Amicalola and Springer Mountain right now. That's what we just saw on the camera. But there are more back into parts of Fannin County, over into Union County, and then towards Rabun County at this hour. Also favoring right now really the west side of the metro. Go down into Cobb, Paulding, Haralson, Carroll, Floyd, Chattooga counties, looking at some showers percolating out there. It's a good word. I should use that more often. Percolating. But notice there's no lightning, right? The lightning counters up there at the top of your screen. These are just showers, not so much in the way of thunderstorms, and some more down in the Columbus area. So predominantly partly cloudy this evening is what we're going to go with. Temperatures falling from the 80s where we are now down into the 70s. It's no secret that Northeast Georgia saw a lot of rain over the weekend, and I want to throw this out there because it's going to be top of mind for some people. Northeast Georgia was still kind of the focal point of the drought situation. Well, new measurements are going to be taken tomorrow, and I am expecting a significant improvement. If somebody tries to argue with me that Fannin County is in a moderate drought, I'm going to have something to say about that, but we'll have a new map for you on Thursday. As for us, Hope you enjoyed the showers, whoever saw them today. If you didn't see them today, you got a much better chance tomorrow. There's a stationary front in the neighborhood that's going to help fire off showers and storms, and more of them by the time we get towards Wednesday. There's a cutoff upper level low over the metro area, which is a very fancy way of saying there's a better chance of rain. And you'll see those here on the 7-day in just a moment. 73 tonight, 68 in Carrollton, 70 in Dalton, 66 in Blairsville. Then for tomorrow, going with 4 to 5 degrees cooler than the average high once again, 86 in Atlanta, 90 in Eatonton. So there's your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. A 60% chance of showers and storms Tuesday, 70% on Wednesday. Tom, I know a lot of people look at those numbers, particularly Wednesday, and they go, great, it's going to rain. There is a 30% chance of staying dry on Wednesday. I think that's something that we've seen a lot of over the last really 2 weeks is, people seeing high rain chances, then not seeing rain, and they're like, oh, you guys don't know anything. But the reality is when I pull up the 24-hour rainfall map, about 70% of the area saw rain. So just because it didn't rain at your house does not mean
And it doesn't mean a rainy day necessarily.
Right.
It means the chance of like these summertime showers that are
very much
through the area.
30 minutes, one and done.
Good information, Alex. Thanks so much. Want to head to Gwinnett County now, where we're on top of a troubling story this afternoon. A mother in court this morning after police say that she left her 1-year-old child to die in a hot car. Just an unconscionable act while she went to work at Northside Gwinnett Hospital. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor is in Lawrenceville this afternoon with the latest on her preliminary hearing.
Says his client should not be charged in this very emotional case. He says she was a very hardworking mother of 3 who loved her children and was simply sleep deprived and extremely tired when she left her 1-year-old son in her car as she worked. Now, attorney Tom Ford says the problem is the Georgia law that is on the books. He says because of the very high-profile Ross Harris hot car death of his young son, Georgia law is extremely harsh. The attorney describes 29-year-old Coleman as hardworking, a single mother of 3 who was overwhelmed with responsibilities of those children and was sleep deprived when she left her 1-year-old son in the parking lot at Northside Piedmont Hospital in Gwinnett County last week.
None of us understand the science of being tired. We all work with sleep deficits every day. I do. You do. We don't legislate it. We don't criminalize it. But when a young working class African-American mother who's handling a 6-year-old who's autistic and
All right, trying to listen to Angelique Proctor on this horrible hot car death trial preliminary hearing out of Lawrenceville. Obviously, we could hear Angelique, but we had the wrong picture up, and we apologize about that. As soon as we clean up that technical hiccup there, we will get back to her. Want to talk about some other stories making headlines this afternoon. If you travel by air recently, boy, you probably noticed flights are getting a whole lot more expensive out there, and all indicators are that they are likely to stay that way. Wall Street analysts say that airfare was up more than 26% in June compared to just a year earlier. And carriers are expected their fuel bills to continue to rise by billions of dollars due to the Iran war. Nonetheless, officials with the airline say that customers are continuing to book flights even with the higher cost of flying. A major airline has changed its flight cancellation and refund policy, potentially making it more restrictive for flyers. Just what you want to hear, right? American Airlines putting a new policy into effect, requiring customers to buy a ticket at least 7 days prior to departure in order to qualify for a refund if the ticket's canceled within 24 hours of purchase. The previous policy allowed those who purchased tickets at least 2 days prior to departure to request a refund within 24 hours. The Department of Transportation says that airlines must offer customers a refund for trips canceled within 24 hours of booking for flights departing at least a week or later. Airlines are allowed to expand the policy for flights departing closer to the booking date. American Airlines change applies regardless of ticket class. Other carriers such as JetBlue, Southwest, and United Airlines have similar same-day restrictions. I want to talk about student loan options now. With new federal borrowing caps on student loans going into effect, states are trying to take up the slack by expanding their student loan offerings. Financial experts are warning students to be careful. Borrowing money from the state comes with trade-offs. Consumer advocates caution that while state loans may be a good choice for borrowers, they may not be as advantageous as federal loans. That's because the interest rates on state student loans can exceed 10%, and the debt does not come with federal protections. The money experts say student loans are more likely private student loans, and that means students should be extra cautious when looking into signing up for them. As we continue here, still much more to come on the 3 p.m. streaming hour of Fox Local. Millions of college students headed back to campus. Getting them into their dorm rooms, boy, that can be a challenge. Our Chris Rosenthal live at one place in Marietta with the essential gear your college-bound child is going to need when we come back. All right, welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour. So happy you're with us this afternoon. I'm Tom Haynes, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. Appreciate you being with us. If you're streaming with us on our Fox Local free mobile app, happy you're here on your mobile device. If you're watching at home through one of your live channels on TV, happy you're with us this afternoon too. We're also streaming on all of our social media platforms this afternoon, so we appreciate you visiting us there and always adding your comments to the stories that we're talking about this afternoon, or of course on our YouTube channel at Fox 5 Atlanta. And if you're out and about, driving around town with our radio partner 107.9 HD2 FM, certainly glad you're listening to us today. I want to get back to that horrible preliminary hearing in Lawrenceville this afternoon, after police say that a mother left her one-year-old child to die in a hot car while she went to work. She was working her shift at Northside Gwinnett Hospital. Let's try to get back to our Angelique Proctor for more on today's hearing.
The attorney for Deja Coleman says his client should not be charged in this very emotional case. He says she was a very hardworking mother of three who loved her children and was simply sleep deprived and extremely tired when she left her one-year-old son in her car as she worked. Now, attorney Tom Ford says the problem is the Georgia law that is on the books. He says because of the very high-profile Ross Harris Starr's hot car death of his young son, Georgia law is extremely harsh. The attorney describes 29-year-old Coleman as hardworking, a single mother of 3 who was overwhelmed with responsibilities of those children and was sleep deprived when she left her 1-year-old son in the parking lot at Northside Piedmont Hospital in Gwinnett County last week.
None of us understand the science of being tired. We all work with a sleep deficit every day. I do. You do. We don't legislate it. We don't criminalize it. But when a young working class African-American mother who's handling a 6-year-old who's autistic and handling a 4-year-old and a teething 1-year-old, and she's sleep deprived for a week, and then her baby dies in the car, it's a tragic accident for everybody. It's a nightmare for her, for the family, for society, for the officers that find the child. As Lawrenceville police told us, this was a tragedy. They told us this was a good faith mistake. But we still have this law in the books because of the Ross Harris case. I suspect that was crafted and drafted for a net to capture a different type of citizen. Not this citizen. Mr. Harris, there was extenuating, aggravating circumstances in that case. He's sexting in real time 15-year-old girls as this child baked to death in a car. There are no such communications by my client. I would submit there's no charges at all because to be tired is not a crime. To be tired is not a crime. There's 3 degrees, there's different degrees of negligence now in Georgia. There's negligence where you're tired, you don't commit a crime. There's negligence where you're tired, you commit a misdemeanor. There's negligence where you're tired, and we call it involuntary manslaughter. Now we call it second-degree murder. You have warning signs as we're driving a car. We all have warning signs. We know when it's tired to drive a car. We know that we're being irresponsible if we don't pull over. If we wreck a vehicle, driving a vehicle, and we're tired, you've got problems. But we don't know enough about sleep deprivation as the layperson, society, without a neuroscientist, an expert to explain the basal ganglia. Do you know what that is? Prefrontal cortex, you know what that does? No, I don't either. None of us understand what autopilot, the basal ganglia, that's what takes over. It's your autopilot portion of your brain. The prefrontal cortex makes your decisions in the future. It helps you make decisions. We don't know that. But that's what the scientists will tell us. Her brain was on autopilot. She goes to the daycare center. Her 2 children that can walk and get out. She'd had only a couple hours sleep because of a teething infant. The 2 children walk into the daycare center as they do normally. Her infant was sound finally asleep in the back seat. She's on autopilot. And her brain, the scientists will tell us her brain checks the box.
Now, Attorney Ford contends that Coleman is a domestic violence victim who is actually living in a government-run housing outfit for battered women. She is charged with second-degree murder in this case, as well as felony cruelty to children in the death of her son, Daniel. He says Lawrenceville police were doing their job. He believes the problem here is the state law, as I have mentioned. Attorney Ford says the real change needs to come at the Georgia legislature. He says his next order of business is to get Coleman out of jail on bond. That's what he will be working on. He says she has no criminal history, and he would actually like to see prosecutors drop this case. We will continue to follow it. In downtown, Angelique Proctor, Fox 5 News.
Heartbreaking story. We'll continue to watch how that case continues to unfold. Want to shift gears here, talk about something a little lighter hearted, and that is millions of college kids, in addition to kids who are going back to school. Kids are headed back to college. Heavy furniture, moving injuries, once again a leading cause of early ER visits. Our Chris Rosenthal out and about at Northern Tool in Marietta with the essential gear, Chris, apparently that you can get there to help not hurt yourself when you're trying to move your kid into college.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of ways you can hurt yourself. You can hurt your back. You can drop furniture on yourself. You can also damage your furniture and your precious items when moving, and that's kind of a problem. So I'm here at Northern Tool and Equipment in Marietta, and I've got Joseph here, and he's kind of an expert in this. He's actually been moving his family members and his sister, and yep. he's got a lot of personal experience moving and tips and advice here. So first First of all, what are some of the big mistakes and dangerous mistakes that you see people making when they're moving?
Yeah, so it's really just being unprepared, or people are just going into these moving things, super macho, like they don't want to spend their money on a dolly or even ratchet straps, and that stuff, it's you're risking hurting yourself, risking breaking your stuff. It's just the stuff is supposed to save your back, save your time, and thus that also saves money.
Yeah, and don't be macho. Don't try and pick it up if it's too much. And show some of the items that we have here that you can use that can really help save some of that.
So if you don't got an elevator where you're moving to, you got your steel stair climber hand truck. This thing has 3 wheels to where this thing can literally glide up the stairs. So this is 550 pounds. It can be moving a washer, a dryer, just anything that's narrow should be able to fit on here perfectly easily. And it just really helps your back from just going up the stairs. It even saves a lot of your stuff.
Yeah, and I noticed it's got like a capacity rating on there, so you want to check that too to make sure it fits what you're carrying.
Definitely.
Huh? So what else? We got moving straps, huh?
Yeah, we got moving straps. If you got 2 people that can move an appliance in just a small area, you just strap these things up. They can handle 800 pounds, and they're very easy to move rather than just grabbing it from just the base of the bottom. These are a lot safer for your body, and as well as safer for your appliances, as well as bubble wrap if you're moving anything of just value. You really want to wrap the stuff up like a TV, even laptops. Anything can break when you're moving. So you really want to be able to just have a lot of protection.
And those blankets too, of course. Yeah,
of course.
What about dollies versus hand trucks? What's the difference? When would you want to use a hand truck and a dolly?
Well, you really want to use a dolly when you're just you're moving stuff out of the vehicle, and you're having to go in just weird, hard places. But with this dolly, it's really meant for just maneuverability. This thing can handle 1,600 pounds. This thing can maneuver any way you want to. So if you want to get that washer to go in the right spot, this is what you'd really need. Or if you're having to even move something like a wider TV stand, this can fit the entire base of it, and you don't got to drag this thing around. You don't got to scratch that hardwood floor at all. And we also got your aluminum hand trucks. These things are a 3-in-1. They can be a regular dolly, as well as just something for bendable, just hand truck mode. And we also have the platform one. These things can handle 550 pounds, as well as this platform one can handle 770 pounds. So they have a lot of their different values and different adjustments for them to do.
550 pounds, like what would that be equivalent to? What kind of furniture?
Let's shoot a washer, definitely. Even a dryer. I've moved washers before. They're the worst things to move. Those things got too much weight on them, and especially if they got water on them. You're risking breaking your back.
And when you put them on a dolly like that, sometimes it's good to strap it in too, right?
Oh, of course. Especially with that steel stair climber. If you're moving that washer up the stairs, you have to be able to, ratchet strap that thing down. You don't want to have somebody else on the other end holding it to make sure the thing's stable. You're risking that thing falling on that person.
And speaking of ratchet straps, it's not just when you get to the site, you get to the home, the dorm. It's how you get there, huh? And how you carry them.
Yeah, if you're strapping the stuff down to your vehicle, it's best to use ratchet straps. Just don't use just twine or rope. That's a lot more riskier. But these ones, these can handle 1,500 pounds of brake strength. So this weekend I've had to literally move my sister's box spring and her mattress, and we used 4 of these things. We strapped it to my mom's hatchback, drove 2 hours from Columbus, Georgia, and it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think we've all been behind a car that maybe had some items strapped down in maybe a little questionable way.
Shoot, I've seen stuff fall down on the highway. Everybody's seen stuff on 285. It's funny.
Yeah, it's a bit of a yard sale out there, but that's dangerous too.
Oh, extremely.
And when your kids get to college, of course, you're not able to be there maybe to help them out all the time. It's good to have some tools with them and some items maybe for their car, things like that here.
Yeah, so even like this past weekend, we left that door ajar. Our battery died, so we had to wait for somebody to jump us off. And when you have stuff like a jump starter, or even like a small little air compressor, you don't have to worry about having a flat tire or even a dead battery. You can be able to just jump yourself off. I think the thing that's more precarious for people that are moving on and they're living by themselves, they don't have mommy or daddy to help them out, is what do I do if I get stuck? And when you have a lot of these equipment that can save you in a bind, I mean, you never know what can happen. And these things, they're built to last. They're built to work the way that they're intended to.
Yeah, that'll save, like you said, mommy and daddy, maybe a phone call at an odd hour and having to run out to who knows where to maybe save their kid there. So yeah, lots of great tips here, lots of great advice here on ways you can make that move really a lot easier and a lot safer and cause less problems for yourself. Maybe a little bit of money it costs up front to buy some of these items, but yeah, anything you do to make it a little easier, get that strain off your back, or keep things from falling, or keeping even your items from getting damaged, could be money well spent.
The thing is, it's like you want to be there for your child, to move them into wherever it is they're going. You don't think twice about maybe lifting something that could hurt you. Certainly don't want to embarrass yourself in front of your kid, like, oh, I can't lift that. So, but you gotta be careful, because chances are if you're putting a kid in school, in college, you're kind of in the midlife range, and that's when people wind up hurting themselves because they're not quite elderly yet. They're still kind of in their 40s, 50s, and feeling like they can do it, reminding themselves of when they were a younger man or woman. But then they wind up like tearing a tendon or breaking something or fracturing something or like throwing out your back. Just remind us real quick, Chris, where you are and sort of the hours of a place like that where I can go in and get somebody. I love the strap idea where you can lift things with somebody else more safely than you could without them.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of teamwork with your kids too. Maybe a little bit of a bonding experience with those. But yeah, I'm at the Northern Tool and Equipment. This is the Marietta location. And actually, Joseph, what are the hours here? When are you guys open?
Monday through Friday, 7 to 7. On the weekend, Saturday, we're running from 8 to 6, and on Sunday, 9 to 5. Please come on and see us.
There you go, 7 days a week. So yeah, lots and lots of stuff here that you can use. I mean, they got a whole, as you saw back there, big huge section of dollies, different sizes, different weight ranges, all the things that you need to.
Helpful to have those things
stacked up, ready to go.
Kind of around the house after you do a move, just to in case you have to do something like that around the house. Helpful to have those kind of things around. Yeah. Chris Rosenthal, great tools, great information as we get set to move the kids into college. Chris, thanks so much. Well, speaking of schools, staying on the subject here, a new school in Cobb County will give students the opportunity to take their education to new heights through hands-on learning experiences. We sent none other than our Paul Milliken into Ackworth into a class at the Cobb Innovation and Technology Academy.
Well, it's not just the first day of school here. It is the first day ever here at the new CETA campus at Allatoona High School. CETA is the Cobb Innovation and Technology Academy. It is an incredible place where students are getting real-world experience so they can leave here, either go to college or go straight into the workforce, and in this case, into the healthcare field. This is amazing. So Dr. Barney is the executive director. How do you describe what CETA is?
CETA is a place for students to come explore their passions, and that's ultimately what our goal is for them to see what career field interests them the most.
Yeah, and so students are going academically over to Allatoona High School, and then their electives are to come here. They can be one of 4 pathways. What are the pathways here?
So they can do skilled trades, they can do healthcare, aviation, and advanced computing.
Yeah, and am I correct in that? I mean, when they're finished, when they're leaving, in a lot of cases, they already have certifications and things they will need to get jobs.
Absolutely. So they're able to get these certifications, and they can use them while they're in college. They can use them instead of going immediately to college. Yeah. Their possibilities are endless.
And this school, when I say it's state of the art, that is not hype, that is not over exaggeration, it is state of the art.
It is. We designed this facility and we cut no corners. We made sure we leaned on industry to make sure we have what students need.
Yeah, are you a little bit jealous about the students?
I'm very jealous of the students because this is not what high school looked like when I was there.
Me neither. And just knowing that a lot of these careers are possible. So McKinley is a new student here. Good to see you.
It's
Good to see you too.
Okay, so why did you want to come to CETA? What brought you here?
I wanted to come to CETA because I'm looking forward to going into the healthcare system when I am older, and I want to just get all those certifications while I'm in high school, and get those college credits so I can move forward even faster.
Yeah, that's so great. Do you know what you want to do within the healthcare field yet?
I'm looking towards labor and delivery and stuff like that, or like doing MRI techs,
very cool,
X-rays, and just stuff like that.
Well, and there's probably jobs you don't even know exist yet that you'll learn about here at CETA. So knowing that you're working with like professionals that have actually worked in this field, how exciting is that for you?
That's so exciting because I get to finally like put myself out there and finally like learn everything that I haven't learned yet.
Yeah.
So that's just really exciting.
And by the way, like this is a pretty nice new building, huh?
Yes, it is. I got to come here on the Buck Bash and I saw all the mannequins and like one of the toes over there is like black and it's crazy.
Oh, you are like ready to get in there.
Yes, I am.
Okay, well look, don't look. I'm already an old man, but it's only getting worse for me. So when I need like a hip or a knee checkup, don't forget me. Okay.
Okay, I won't.
Wonderful. I'm recruiting new doctors for me this morning. All right. Again, this is the brand new CETA campus. It is incredible at Allatoona High School. Open now.
You and me both. All right, Paul, thanks so much. When we come back, I mean, I've gotten one, admittedly, okay, in the mail, a little ticket that said you were going 32 in a 25 school zone. I'm like, 32? Come on, really? But it's happened, and those cameras are lit up again. Our Eli Jordan's going to talk to us about that when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. As we've been talking about, school is back in session. Henry County, no exception. And those speeding cameras, look out, are back up and reactivated in school zones near you. Let's get out to our Eli Jordan out and about near Unity Grove Elementary, Eli, with what drivers need to know as we head into this new school year.
Hey, Tom. Yeah, I'm at Unity Grove out here on LaGuin Mill Road in Henry County. It's an elementary school. Now, these cameras, they're activated again starting today. Now, they activate an hour before school starts. So this camera right there, well, school starts here at Unity Grove at 7:35. So at 6:35, that camera turns on. That camera is on all day monitoring this road. And then school lets out at 2:15 here. Well, that camera finally turns off at 3:15. So it's an hour before school starts, an hour after school ends. So that's when you need to be very mindful when you're going through a school zone to watch your speed. But there's another caveat, Tom. Depending on what school you're going by, what grade level the school is, they open and shut down each day at different times. This is an elementary school where they are open at 7:35. With a high school, they start school at 8:15. So at 7:15, their cameras will go on at high school, and then they'll turn off at 4:15 after school lets out at 3:15. Now, if you're in a middle school, well, school starts at 9 a.m., so the cameras turn on at 8 a.m., and then they turn off at 5 p.m. So, nonetheless, to protect yourself, just go slow when you're going in front of a school all throughout the state. It's not just Henry County. Dallas is implementing some cameras. I think LaGrange is implementing some cameras. And so you just got to keep an eye out. And also, too, there's a lot of other things, though, we need to be, reminded of as school starts back. We got crossing guards. We got buses. Not only, kids going on and off the bus, but need to stop, do not pass a bus when they are letting kids on and off a bus. I spoke to the Director of Communications with Henry County Schools, Kyle Sears. Here's what he has to say. We got crossing guards, we have students loading on buses, we have buses coming in and out. Should people allow for time if they're passing by a school?
Yeah, especially these first couple of weeks of school, patience is really the operative word. Everybody's getting back into their routine, whether it's our drivers and our students back in the routine of finding their school bus stop and getting on the bus, or our schools who are handling arrival and dismissal procedures, or our parents who are doing drop-off and pickup in the afternoons. We'll see a lot of congestion these first couple of weeks as people do get back into those routines, and then pretty soon it'll be smooth sailing.
How many schools does the county have?
53 schools.
53 schools. So we got 53 areas we need to be, cautious about, right?
Right. Some of them are in clusters, and those clusters can get very congested in the mornings and afternoons. Some of them, like here at Unity Grove, we're a little more spread out.
And I guess also, too, high schools, we got not only parents picking up underclassmen, but we also have upperclassmen who freshly got a license and driving around, and that's going to be kind of hairy some, too, right?
Yep. Those student drivers out on the street. Again, I think really the key thing is just to pay attention to the signage, pay attention to the crossing guards, and exercise patience and caution anytime you're near a school.
Patience and caution anytime you're near a school. I think that's the mantra for all school systems around here. Just be patient. Don't rush through. You'll get through the school zone area quick enough if you just slow down, watch your speed, and don't get caught by one of these, because they're on all day, an hour before school starts until an hour after school starts. Tom?
Good advice. As they say in Vegas, the eye in the sky, it's out there watching you. Eli Jordan. Eli, thanks. Oh, yeah. And thank you for joining us here for the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I'm Tom Haynes. Have a great rest of your afternoon. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. The news continues right here, right now.